Philadelphia, NBC Sports presents Game 2 of the 1980 World Series. The American League champions, the Kansas City Royals, against the National League champions, the Philadelphia Phillies. Brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Gillette, makers of Right Guard. Yes, men count on Right Guard because men perspire more. By Ford and your Ford dealers, who invite you to test drive the new 1981 Ford cars and trucks. And by Pepsi Cola and your local Pepsi Cola bottler, who invite you to catch that Pepsi spirit. Another beautiful night here in Philadelphia. Another big crowd here at Veterans Stadium as we get ready for Game 2. A little bit warmer tonight. It is 58 degrees, and these Philly fans, they are ready. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Garagiola, and last night the Phillies won a big ball game. But maybe something even bigger happened when young Bob Walk was able to buy some time to rest that Philadelphia pitching staff. And one of the keys in that game last night was his ability to handle George Brett and Willie Wilson. 1 for 9 combined. Well, Jim Fry, the manager, changed the lineup for Kansas City tonight. But if they are to win, George Brett has to hit, and Willie Wilson has to be that disruptive, productive force that he was this past season. But the pitching matchup is a good one. Two beauties, Tom.
Joe, exactly right. Two of baseball's best left-handers will be on the mound tonight for Game 2. For the Royals, it's going to be 18-game winner Larry Gura. He throws 4 basic pitches, uses all the strike zone, and he'll change speeds very well tonight. For the Phillies, the man they call in Philadelphia simply Lefty, Steve Carlton. He was 24-9, just the best pitcher in the National League this year. And the Kansas City Royals got their first look at Tug McGraw last night. He simply got 6 quick outs. The Royals seem to be sitting on Tug's screwball. Tug fired a fastball right by him. But the starting pitchers, 2 left-handers with 2 very distinct styles.
Tony, it was kind of a little things game last night.
It sure was. A couple of little things stand out in my mind, Joe, about last night's ball game. They might become important. Larry Bowa's steal in the 3rd inning was a very daring base-running move. The Phillies were down by 4 runs at the time. Both Leonard and White may have taken Bowa for granted in that situation. But that steal sent a message to the Royals pitching staff, and it could linger throughout this World Series. Don't take our speed lightly is what he was telling them. Frank White sent the same kind of message later on in the ball game, the 7th, when he stole second base with his team down by 3. But, Joe, I agree with you mostly about Willie Wilson. When the Royals signed him, they knew what his amazing speed might do on this artificial surface, and he may prove it yet.
Artificial surface seems to be the magic word. I'm going to agree with Richie Allen, who once said, and I think I'd be the same way, I don't like to play on grass that a horse can't eat.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as our colors are presented by the United States Army Color Guard from the Widener University ROTC, and we honor America with our national anthem, which will be sung by the original star of the Broadway show Annie, Philadelphia's Andrea McCardle.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And with the Rockets' red glare they really put on a display here, we will soon have the ceremonial first pitch. What a display, what a display. Andrea McCardle.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the VIP box on the right field side of the Phillies dugout, where the ceremonial first pitch will be thrown out by a pitcher who won 20 or more games for 6 consecutive seasons, Phillies Hall of Famer Robin Roberts.
Robin Roberts throwing out the first pitch, a Hall of Famer. So the scene is set for Game 2. The Philadelphia Phillies and the Kansas City Royals. We'll be right back.
You're the Pepsi generation, the spirit of today. And with every taste of life that's new, well, that Pepsi spirit shines right through. It's that Pepsi spirit. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. Catch that Pepsi spirit. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. Touch the button and the feeling comes out in an instant. You're one step closer to what you're all about. Touch the button, touch the moment, touch the people you love. In an instant, make a memory.
The easiest way to share a good time while it's still happening. Polaroid's One Step, the world's simplest camera.
When your financial plan helps you keep up so inflation won't get you down.
You really believe in those IDS ideas.
When her hard work earns a degree, but your investments help pay for it.
You really believe in those IDS ideas.
Good money ideas from your IDS representative. When they help you reach your goals.
You really believe in those IDS ideas.
Ideas to help you manage money from IDS.
Pitch, hit, and run. The official youth program of Major League Baseball. Historic Doubleday Field, site of the 1980 finals competition. 12 youngsters from across the country came here to compete at the home of baseball's Hall of Fame. From local competitions to this exciting moment, building self-confidence and learning the value of good sportsmanship. Pitch, hit, and run. The dream comes true.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball. Back here at Veterans Stadium, here is the lineup for the Kansas City Royals. Leading off in left field, Willie Wilson. Batting second, the shortstop, UL Washington. Batting third, doubtful for a while, but there he is, George Brett. In the cleanup spot, designated hitter, Hal McRae. In center field, Amos Otis. The catcher tonight will be John Watham. At first base, Willie Mays Aikens. In right field, Jose Cardinal, and batting ninth, Frank White.
Let's take a look at the defensive alignment behind Steve Carlton, Lenny Smith, and left, Maddox in center, McBride in right. Schmidt at third, Bo at short. Manny Trio, the second baseman. Pete Rose at first. Bob Boone, the catcher. And the pitcher is lefty, Steve Carlton.
So we're all set, Willie Wilson. who is the man who makes it go for Kansas City, leads it off. He was 0 for 5 last night. Strike one.
Wilson was overpowered, absolutely overpowered last night by hard stuff, Tom. And Carlton does throw some hard stuff. Of course, Wilson from the right side today.
Well, he's a young kid, Tony, 25 years old, and 0 for 5 yesterday. I think it's, you know, I think it'd be fair to say that he'd be pressing. He's got to be a little nervous, and he's pitching against a man who many would consider the best pitcher in baseball right now.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Willie Wilson. Steve Carlton likes to work in a hurry. A strike missed by the catcher Boone. He'll throw the first and he gets him. 1 strikeout. Carlton registers 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. A breaking ball got him.
We'll let you start with that pitch for your scouting report, Tom, on Steve Carlton. That was a hellacious curveball.
Well, he has just absolutely an awesome breaking ball, Tony. I mean, the slider that he can throw to those right-hand hitters down and in, if he can establish that he can throw that slider where he wants to early in this game to these right-hand hitters, they'll commit to that pitch, and you'll see a lot of strikeouts. It'll look like it's going to be a strike, especially with 2 strikes. You have to protect the plate. You go out there and start to swing, and that ball breaks down and in right about your feet, and it's completely out of the strike zone. It's completely unhittable.
Here's U.L. Washington, strike 1. Steve Carlton led the major leagues in innings pitched 304 and in strikeouts with 286. You might take note of the pace that Carlton sets. He likes to work in a hurry.
And you might notice as just the second hitter, U.L. Washington stepped out and made Carlton wait just on that last pitch.
Larry Bow, a big hop. 2 outs.
Bow's the man who said that the team, and Frank White said it on the other side of the field, the team that makes all the routine plays defensively in this series might win it.
Here's the man of the hour as far as this ballpark is concerned, George Brett. It was doubtful. They made an announcement at 6 o'clock, and as you heard Brian Gumbel and Mickey Cobb, trainer, talking about George Brett, playing in considerable pain. He's no stranger to pain, this young man.
Kind of left-hander really gives Kansas City a little more trouble than right-handers. One of the reasons you negate Brett, if Wilson gets on, you hold his speed down on the base pass to steals, and Carlton has excellent move.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, top of the first, no score. Ball game just underway. Bouncing ball up the middle. George Brett has a base hit. Brett is on with a single. George Brett at first base.
Well, we'll take a look. You heard Mickey Cobb, the trainer, in Brian Gumbel's show as he chops a breaking pitch, a curveball down on the artificial surface. That's a turf hit. Said he'd have trouble running. George did not sprint down to first base as he ordinarily does. He usually makes a long, wide turn. If you bobble the ball, he keeps on going. He trotted down.
Here's McRae. Pops up the first pitch. Right field side. Everybody giving it a chase, and no one can get it. Strike 1. Pete Rose, Manny Trio.
It's actually a little bit easier play for the second baseman on this. Pete Rose had a shorter way to go, but he's trying to catch it like a football pass over the shoulder. But with Trio playing McRae up the middle a little bit and protecting for a steal from Brett, that possibility, he couldn't get there. Paul Pryor, the man at first base tonight, the National League umpire. Look how far off the plate McRae stands.
They got him. It was close. He was leaning and he just got back. I thought they had him. He had me picked off.
Martinez is arguing for a ball call. Here it is again. He had Brett leading the other way. I do not believe he was even going at that point. He hadn't set.
Fastball misses.
Here it is again. Watch Carlton's head motion. When he's looking at you as he makes his step, if you look at his foot, you got a problem. But if you look at his head, you got a chance to solve him. When he's looking at you, sometimes, in fact, most times, he's going home. When he is looking home, he goes to first. It's the old Maury Wills theory.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Does he change speed on his curveball much? It looked like he pulled the string on a breaking ball that time, Tom.
He'll take something off the breaking ball at times, Tony, yes. But the big out pitch for him, especially in a two-strike situation like this, is that slider that's going to come down and into the hitter's feet.
Right field, base hit. George Brett rounding second. He's going to hold on. He stops at second. And Kansas City base runners at first and second in the Batterama Sodas.
Brett may have stopped for two reasons. One, with 2 outs, he doesn't want to get thrown out at third. That would violate a cardinal rule of baseball. And aside from that, he did not run to second base well again. He is hurting.
Well, Tony, he didn't run hard, it's true, but I just wonder, the situation really doesn't dictate that he goes all out. We know he's an all-out kind of ball player, but a needless slide tonight with the problems he has. And, well, I tell you, it's not funny, as Brian said, if you have that problem. And trying to play in a World Series, well, 2 outs. Bouncing ball, Mike Schmidt at third has it. Trio forces on. McRae's out, coming out from second. That ends the top half of the first inning. So we go into the bottom half of the first inning. There is no score.
You still catch Turner the old way with strong pulls and strong arms.
Let's take them home.
Now comes Miller time.
When it's time to relax.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
One beer stands clear.
America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer.
Introducing a car with better ideas from Germany, Japan, America, from around the world. Introducing a world car. The new Ford Escort, built in America with better ideas from around the world. Escort has higher gas mileage ratings than Rapid, Accord, Corolla hatchback, yet it is roomier inside. And Escort has 4-wheel independent suspension, front-wheel drive. Ford Escort, built in America to take on the world.
Back here in the bottom of the first inning, here's the lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Leading off, Lonnie Smith in left field. Batting second, Pete Rose. He'll be at first base. Nate McBride in right field. Mike Schmidt, the cleanup hitter, at third base. A late start for Keith Moreland. Luzinski was scheduled, but Keith Moreland will be the DH tonight. Gary Maddox is in center field. Manny Teo is at second base. Larry Boa, the shortstop, and Bob Boone will be the catcher.
The Royals defensively behind Larry Gura in left field. It'll be Willie Wilson, Amos Otis in center. Jose Cardinal has gone out to right field for today's ball game against the left-handed pitcher. George Brett at third. UL Washington at short. Frank White, the second baseman. Willie Mays Aiken at first. John Wathen becomes the catcher. Porter's not playing, or at least starting today, and Larry Gura, the pitcher.
George Brett taking his infield tosses. Brett had to do some running in that first inning, so you make up your mind.
Here he goes on the ball. The base hit to right field by McRae. He did start out pretty well. With 2 outs, he's not taking any chance. He's going to hold right there. You know, he came out and tried to take a few ground balls during pregame practice, bent over a couple of times, and then went back in to get a water bottle or some hot stuff.
Larry Gura for the Kansas City Royals, left-hander, of course, 18 and 10 this year with a 2.95 ERA. Pitched more innings than he's ever pitched in his major league career. 283 innings pitched, the most he's ever pitched in the big leagues. A pretty good innings pitched and hit ratio, that 283 to 272 there. Pretty basic pitcher, fastball, slider, curveball, and a changeup. Guess you'd call him a control fastball pitcher. He has to use his fastball to be effective. And that fastball was set up as other pitches. His slider is a very good slider, good curveball, pretty good changeup.
Tom, he has not had the number of good years or great years as Catfish Hunter did, but Gura will at times remind you of Catfish Hunter, the way he changes speed on his fastball. He is not just a fastball changeup pitcher. He will have varying degrees of his fastball. And if you get him early, as the Yankees almost did in the championship series, you can give him a problem. Once he gets in his groove, gets the rhythm, he can be tough hitting the corners, moving the ball around.
Leading off, Lonnie Smith. Outside, ball 1.
That's another place where you've got to wonder with the team speed of the Phillies whether they're going to test George Brett at third base. He made a move on that one with a fake bunt attempt.
Foul ball out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. No score, bottom of the first. Kansas City threatened. There is Larry Gura. Larry, one of those athletes, stays in shape all year round. High fly ball, center field. Amos Otis says, I'll take it. 1 out. As I look at Gura, I know he works out in the gym, but he's also, his wife Cindy is nutritionist. And he's got a ritual during the days he pitches. He has lunch about 12:30. At about 3:30, he has to have some pasta for carbohydrates. You too, Tom?
Well, we had dinner the other night, Larry Gura and the pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals, Billy Connors, and we went out to have a bite to eat, and I asked him, you know, as you would, and all pitchers you'd ask, what do you have the night before you eat? He says, a nice big bowl of spaghetti. He likes to get the carbohydrates up.
1 ball, no strikes. 2 balls, no strikes. And I see in my neighborhood, we had a lot of guys that could eat spaghetti, but couldn't get the ball over the plate. Manja pasta. 2-0 on Pete Rose, and he made it happen last night. Straight away center field. Otis is there. 2 outs.
That's something that you saw in the championship series also, as we look at Otis, is that Gura threw quite a few fly balls. You would think of a guy who is not overpowering as being more of a ground ball pitcher. But what he does is I think he gets the ball in on you. He surprises you with a fastball. You're looking for off-speed stuff, changes speeds, a turned over fastball, and the ball, you're always late on his fastball. He gets a lot of hitters out with that fastball.
Beck McBride, what a night he had last night. 3 for 4, including a 3-run homer. It's high, ball 1. John Wathan behind the plate. Shot from right field. That's pretty much what Cardinal's looking at. Good breaking pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs, nobody on. Bottom of the first, no score.
Vic is another one of those left-handed hitters, and he's got a lot of experience, but you still do it. Once you hit a home run, you get a left-handed pitcher, you continue to try and pull the ball, and they give you trouble.
2 balls and a strike. I tell you, we've got a microphone down there. It's just great, because baseball is not only a sight game, it's really a sound game. Ball off the bat, obvious. Off the shin guards, into the glove. Even picked up a handshake last night, a high five. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tell you what, we'll just let you hear this sound on this next pitch, whatever it is. Off the bat, George Brett. George Brett makes the play. 3 up, 3 down for Philadelphia. We end 1 inning. It's 0-0. Kansas City and Philadelphia. And 2 up for the Kansas City Royals. Here in this top half of the 2nd inning. They'll lead off with John Wathan. And then it'll be Willie Mays Aikens. And then Jose Cardinal.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trouble spots like these are what separate Gillette Atra from all ordinary razors. The reason? The Atra pivot. It keeps the blades at a perfect shaving angle, giving you a better shave than any razor that can't pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many more reasons do you need? Gillette Atra, the pivot makes it better.
Gillette, when it comes to shaving, we give you the edge.
I was a secret money worrier until Connecticut General showed me how to reach financial independence in my lifetime. CG certainly came through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
My successful business became more successful after Connecticut General helped me work out a cash flow strategy. CG sure came through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
Now,
the Firestone Trax 12 steel-belted radial with deep grooves and biting edges that give you traction when you need it and smooth, quiet running when the turnpike's dry. Traction 12 months a year. The Firestone Trax 12. Best of all, the long-lasting Trax 12 is Firestone's lowest-priced steel-belted white wall radial. Check your paper today for Trax 12 prices.
Thursday on Games People Play, Leif Garrett looks at the freewheeling world of skateboarding, meet the champs of the Wheelchair Olympics, and see a boy and his bike attempt to jump over 5 trucks Thursday.
Top half of the second inning, nothing to score. John Watson. So far in this World Series, 0 for 1, a pinch hitter. Foul ball out of play, strike 1.
He's been kind of a jack of all trades this year for the Royals. Played the outfield, some first base. He's caught. In fact, when Porter missed about the first 30 ball games or more, he caught a lot of these pitchers, got him in the groove.
Inside, 1-1.
You know, Tony, the way he stands at the plate reminds me a little bit of the way Steve Garvey approaches. Looks physically at the plate, looks a little bit the way Steve Garvey does.
Off the handle, popped up. Pete Rose says, I'll take it. He does. 1 out. Pistol Pete Rose. 1 away, and it brings up Willie Mays Aikens. If you were with us last night, he had a little bit of a problem getting into the batter's box because the back line, he was sneaking out, and Harry Wendelstedt kept getting him back in. But with that bat, he had no problem. 2 tremendous home runs. And on his second one, he really touched it off.
I think, Joe, what you're seeing, too, a little bit here, exactly the points that you made in the first inning. Carlton likes to get the ball and pitch. Now that last out, Aikens was over there putting on his gloves, getting the pine tar, you know, just making sure he's not in any hurry, and Carlton's out there waiting on the mound. Making Carlton wait.
Willie Mays Aikens just made a mistake. He uncovered the white line. He didn't want to do that. He's got him right where he wants him now, doesn't he?
There's the strike, taken all away. You might take a look at his front foot. He sets, but he kind of gets on his toe, much like a ballet dancer. There it is. Takes it outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. They use expressions in baseball like a mistake hitter, and Willie is one of them. He can hit your mistake a mile.
He spent his entire batting practice today hitting the ball the opposite way to left field in anticipation of the breaking stuff off Carlton.
3 balls and 1 strike now. Willie Mays Aikens. Ball 4, he drew the base on balls. Carlton doesn't walk that many. In fact, in 1980, Carlton, 2.7 walks per 9 innings, his average. Strikes out 8.5, walks 2.7. So you can see why he wins 20 games. In fact, this was his 5th 20-game season this year. Jose Cardinal. He has bounced around. Line drive, foul, strike 1.
You think that isn't a thrill for this little guy who's played so many baseball games through the winter leagues down there and so many seasons in baseball with all the clubs you talked about to be in the World Series and to play in one for the first time today?
What a break, too. You know, towards the end of the year, a couple clubs after him.
He's always been underrated. When he was a younger kid, he had good speed, a fine throwing arm, had some power, stole you some bases, ran the bases well.
Booney just got hit with the foul tip, and that's the last thing he needed. He is really hurt.
Cut fastball slider.
Oh,
it got underneath the mask. Oh,
I want to
is he wearing one of those protective devices that Bill Bueller and Steve Yeager devised?
He's just got the mask low.
Oh man. Now why wouldn't a guy with that shingle hanging down or whatever you call it wear it all the time just for reasons like this? Look at that. That is mean.
Cardinal takes it low inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He threw that ball away. He's still in pain.
Oh, you bet.
Booney is hurting. I'd say there are 2 places But you get hit in the groin and in the Adam's apple, forget about it. You wish you'd gone to air conditioning school.
That ball that came off that bat, Joe, hit him in the finger first and then went under the chin. You can see him, he made a fist after that ball went in there, that foul tip. And I think he did get hit in the finger. He's still flexing his fingers as he's walking back to home plate.
You lose the feeling sometimes, and he's just trying to get it back. He didn't tear anything. When you get hit like that, you're afraid to look down because you feel like a loser.
With one out and Willie Mays Aikens at first base, Rose is not holding him on. He has no stolen base threat. So Pete's going back. Pick off. Look out. Sneaked in behind him. They had the count play on. It's watch the head of Carlton.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Looking home, going to first. If you get caught watching his foot, you might have a problem.
Cardinal is called out on strikes.
Tom, that pickoff move that he called, what, 11 balks last year, 6 this year, one of the things they call him, I think he learned from your old teammate, Jerry Kuzman, where he stopped that leg and paused and tried to freeze the runners. There's the last pitch. Perfect pitch down low and away.
Well, he did talk to Jerry Kuzman about the move, Tony, yes. And I think, you know, he's got a very touchy, touchy delivery over there to first base. He steps way over here toward the dugout, and you hear a lot of people scream when he does go to first base.
Here is Frank White. There are 2 outs, base runner at first, no score. Oops, he runs back now as Booney was able to come up with it. Willie Mays Aikens had some ideas when a ball got away from Booney. Boone back, able to hold the base runner at first.
His stuff must be pretty live today because Boone doesn't hang on to this fastball. Look at that, he boxed it. Same thing happened on the hard breaking ball to Willie Wilson, the first man up for the Royals. Boone couldn't hang on to it.
Our Jug's gun down there has got him about 89, 90 miles an hour on his fastball. Boone had a little trouble with that one. Got tied up inside.
I got to question the accuracy of the Jug's gun if it got him only at 89 miles an hour.
I was going to say the same thing.
They say that the last 2 years he's thrown the hardest he's thrown in the past 5 or 6.
1 ball, 1 strike. 2 balls and a strike.
There are 2 different guns. I've forgotten the brand names of them, but one registers about 5 miles per hour consistently faster than the other.
Back. He had a good cut at a fastball to count 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Willie Mays Aikens is on at first base. There's no score. We're in the top of the 2nd. And there he is. These Royals, they swing the bat at the American League and hit him with a .286 batting average. He missed the 3rd strike, so did Boone, and now Aikens moves his 2nd. White is on at first, and Boone is catching Carlton like he's being crossed up a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, I just looked over while that was going on to Seaver, and this ball goes down. I don't think it's a slider. That baby's got something on it.
What are you saying? Are you saying that there's foreign substance on the ball? Would you say that here to me or what?
I would say
I think he's got a nasty slider. He gets his hand on top of the ball and drives it right down into the ground. You never did trust us pitchers, did you, Tony?
I trust you less now after you said that.
They call it a strikeout, obviously, but a wild pitch. And Frank White is on at first. Aikens is on at 2nd. That's fouled off by Willie Wilson. So once again, Kansas City threatens.
See, Joe's an expert on that, too. He was a catcher, Tom, as everyone well knows. They're the base runners, Aikens at 2nd and White at 1st. And you guys never told on pitchers either.
We told our own guys. High chopper foul.
Joe caught back when that pitch was legal, too, didn't he?
I tell you, I think that's the most overrated thing in the world.
What is?
The spitball and all, if they legalize it, and that Honeycutt for putting a thumbtack in there and cutting an umpire, that's got to be a...
Man behind home plate tonight, Bill Kunkel, caught Honeycutt.
Fastball misses, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carlton thought he had it. So we've had a base on balls and a strikeout that wasn't a strikeout when the wild pitch on the 3rd strike by Carlton. Inside, misses, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wilson was out on strikes his first time. He got him. That's his 4th strikeout. So we go into the bottom half of the second inning. There's no score. And if you're like me, when you saw that ball get by Boone, did you not go back to the Yankees and Dodgers World Series with Mickey on? Let's look at a flashback right now.
With 2 out, the Dodgers lead 4-3. Hugh Casey needs just one more strike to even the series at 2 games apiece. Henrik swings and misses. So does Brooklyn catcher Mickey Owen. Henrik reaches first safely, starting a chain reaction that leads to a Yankee victory 7-4.
You know, Ethel, I think it's time we sold the old homestead.
Who do we call? We handle the who do you call.
Where do you turn? What are you going to do? Trust the Realty World folks in blue to cover it all for you.
Your local Realty World associate is specially trained to sell your house quickly, even helping with buyer financing information.
We can do it.
Realty World covers all the details.
We'll cover it all for you.
RCA wants you to see the right color. Does your television automatically capture all these subtle shades of blue in this ocean of color? Color Track 1981 can. With RCA's exclusive detail processor, Color Track separates detail from color, refines it, then locks the right color on track. Even colors only subtle shades apart. Color Track 1981. RCA is making television better and better.
When our band's cooking, the music smokes. But not me, because like a lot of my friends, I use Skoal smokeless tobacco. I just take a pinch of that good-tasting wintergreen flavored Skoal between my cheek and gum, and it gives me real tobacco pleasure without ever lighting up. So when you want something that smokes, listen to the Charlie Daniels Band. But when you want real tobacco enjoyment without smoking, try Skoal. A pinch is all it takes. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Lost River Lake was a thriving resort until piranha, a mutant breed of man-eating fish.
There'll be no way to contain it.
First time on TV Thursday.
Mike Schmidt will lead it off. Those fall classic flashbacks. I tell you, when the ball got by Booney, I thought about old Mickey, who's now a sheriff in Boone County in Springfield, Missouri, in that area. And every time I say Willie Mays Aikens, I think about that great catch. We have a number of these flashbacks, so you'll be enjoying a trip back into World Series time throughout this World Series with our fall classic flashbacks. Ball 1. Brett has it. Here's the long throw. 1 out.
So, you know, the Phillies, you would think, with most of their power from the right side, Lazinski, although he's not there, Schmidt. Now let's look at this replay from our left center field camera. Got something in on his fist, Tom. May have been a fastball that sailed in on him, or a slider.
Could have been a sailing fastball, slider inside, Tony. Another thing I think about when I look at Schmidt up to the plate, he's been silent all the way through the playoffs, was silent really in the first game. If he busts open, you know, the Phillies could absolutely run away with it. But he's been silent for about 6 games in a row now.
When he gets in one of those streaks, you can throw about anything in the strike zone. He's got a chance of popping it out of the park.
Here's Keith Moreland, who is a late starter. Luzinski had an intestinal virus, and Moreland's had a good year for these Philadelphia Phillies. Luzinski with 102 fever, 314. Count of 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Started talking a while about the power. The Phillies right-handed. You'd think they do well against left-handers. They've been 21-17 this year. Those kind of cold stats can be deceiving, but they haven't overpowered left-handed pitching as much as you'd think.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Dallas Green, Herm Starrett. Moreland, 26 years old, born in Dallas, now lives in Louisville. Signed by Doug Gassaway, number 7 selection, the 75 draft. Well hit. Wilson's back. He makes the grab. And once again, that great speed. Speed will just erase a lot of mistakes. He can just simply outrun that ball.
Moreland hit the ball very well, Joe. Hit it right on the nose, turned on it, line drive right over Wilson's head. And Wilson has outstanding speed. He's a young guy from Summit, New Jersey, and I recruited him Willie Wilson for USC football, believe it or not, about 5 or 6 years ago, ended up signing with the Royals.
Here is Gary Maddox. First ball, fastball hitter. He takes it outside, ball 1. What impresses me about Wilson or his neighborhood, he was the 4th fastest guy in his neighborhood, he tells me.
Couldn't make track relay team.
1 ball, 1 strike. Can you imagine running that fast, being 4th? Those guys must have afterburners and radial feet.
He takes advantage of that speed, not only on the base pass, but defensively, because he's playing a very shallow left field in this ballpark, and the ball carries very well.
1-1 on Maddox, 2 outs. Off the handle and off the foot, he is down. That is painful. Breaking ball down. Here comes a Philadelphia trainer, Lee Elia, coming in. Maddox is up. Look at that.
That's the one that'll get you. The slider down and in.
I'll tell you what, Tony, I'm not a hitter, and I'm not a very good hitter. Those things don't happen to me, and you see that happen to hitters quite often, and it is extremely painful, and it affects them for an entire day. That ball comes right down off the bat, and that really hurts. That's an ouch.
It's made quite a few hitters wear shin guards. Bucky Dent did for a while. Ted Williams, of course. Vic Wertz.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Maddox is ready. Nobody on, no score. Struck him out. So Gura retires 3 in a row. He has retired the first 6 men. At the end of 2, there is no score. Kansas City nothing, Philadelphia nothing, and due up for the Kansas City Royals. It'll be UL Washington, George Brett, and Hal McRae. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Complete coverage of the major political campaigns, reported by NBC's critically acclaimed news team on NBC Nightly News and weekday mornings on Today.
Come in and see how low prices can go at Gemco.
Thanks to Gemco, everyone can afford genuine diamond jewelry. These diamond earrings are only $39.90.
Gemco's prices are unbeatable on jackets like these. Take this one. It's 100% nylon, and it's only $28.96.
Come in and see how low prices can go at Gemco.
What nature started, we finish beautifully. Burlington gives wood new life in the form of fine, handcrafted furniture with a beautiful luster and sheen. Burlington uses only the finest woods, solid wood and wood veneers, carefully seasoned for furniture that, like a tree, grows more beautiful with time. Furniture made better by Burlington.
When you save at Bank of America, you get more for your money than interest. You get the safety of California's largest bank, the speed of automatic deposits, a wide choice of savings plans to help your money grow, and the convenience of more than 1,000 branches statewide. Get more than interest for your savings dollars with the money convenience system at Bank of America.
An interview with Henry Kissinger, 6:30 Sunday on News Conference.
Another big crowd here at Veterans Stadium. We're in the 3rd inning, no score, UL Washington. We'll lead it off here. Washington bounced out short the first, his first time up. Hits the first pitch foul. You know, we talk about that toothpick that UL Washington constantly has. There you see it. For you youngsters who are watching, it's okay for UL Washington. He's been doing it, but I wouldn't do that. I mean, it doesn't help you. It's one of those 50-50 things, and it could be very, very dangerous. You don't really need it. UL does, so let's root for him, but don't you put it in your mouth. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The Royals had to have lefty on the ropes in the first 2 innings. They've left foreman on, 2 in each of the first and second inning. Base hit may have swung, if there is such a thing as momentum in baseball, back into their favor after yesterday.
2 balls and 1 strike to count here. You know, a baseball game has a flow to it, be it the pitcher, the hitting, and the crowd is a factor. I don't know if it's affecting you as a viewer. Let me try to express it. 2-1 to count. There's the strike. First of all, Carlton likes to pitch in a hurry. The batters are slowing him down. When the Phillies bat, this crowd really gets itself up. But now, with the Kansas City Royals batting, it's choir practice time.
Doesn't matter to Carlton. He's got cotton in his ears somewhere anyway, doesn't he? To block out the crowd. He does that to maintain his concentration.
You hear a little buzz with the crowd. Listen. Now you'll hear him. UL Washington is out on strikes. And that is the 5th strikeout for Steve Carlton.
Carlton, obviously an awesome pitcher, awesome slider, and this a fastball on the outside part of the plate. I think that the Royals got a pretty good scouting report on Carlton in the sense they want to make him wait. But sometimes it doesn't affect him. It doesn't seem to bother him. He just stands there and waits till the hitter gets in, until the hitter is ready, and then he goes right after him.
Here is George Brett. He's single. Strike.
Neither team has ever won a World's Championship.
Line drive, base hit. I don't know about his running, but his bat is not bothered, I'll tell you that.
Now, that ball looked like it was catchable. That may have gotten in the lights. Brett hit the ball very well. It was sinking, but when it came off the bat, McBride started backing off. Here it is, Charlie Lyle's theories in perfection. His run, still not running real well, but that ball was catchable.
It looked like it was catchable when he first hit it, Tony. McBride did back up on the ball in right field.
McRae doesn't get the first pitch, and it's strike one. George Brett, 2 for 2. McRae, the batter, he singled to right field his first time up. Taking a good look at his third base coach, Gordy McKenzie.
He is a very smart hitter, and with Trio and Rose holding Brett, allowing a big hole, he shoots that direction.
That was his pretty good move. Fastball misses.
Tom, the ball, as we see Gordy McKenzie, the third base coach for the Royals, giving a series of signs to McRae, who's out of the box, and Brett. The fastball that Carlton struck out UL Washington with down and away, it looked like he turned it over. It was still very hard, but he throws two kinds of fastball, looks like.
Base hit left field. George Brett will stop at second base. So McRae is 2 for 2. Brett and McRae, they've been able to solve Carlton, but the rest of the lineup, forget about it. He has just stuck termites in the bats. Otis is the batter. He hit into a force play to end that first inning. One man out. Otis last night 3 for 4 with a home run. No score. We're in the third inning. Last night the Phillies won it 7-6. Fouled off, strike one.
It's been a crazy 2 1/3 innings for Carlton. He has struck out 5, and yet he's had 6 base runners. So you don't know if he's really overpowering or he's making that one bad pitch, or they're just hitting good pitches on him.
We've got that jugs gun on him. It says 88, 89 miles an hour, but you can't throw fastballs by people the way he has, throwing 88 or 89 miles an hour. He's got to be throwing better than that, Tony. Granted, he's got a great curveball and the outstanding slider, but his fastball, at least from up here, looks a lot faster than what the gun has it.
There's a double play ball to ball 1. Double play. Innings over. The crowd reacts to the double play, so we go into the bottom half of the third. There is no score. Kansas City nothing, Philadelphia nothing. Due up for the Phillies. It'll be Manny Trio, Larry Baugh, and Bob Boone.
See this little baby? No other pocket camera does what it does. It's unique because only the new Kodak Extralight cameras have built-in Sensolite flash. Sensolite flash turns itself on and flashes automatically when you need more light. Even turns itself off. You'll never worry about flash again. These new cameras with Sensolite flash are the easiest to use Kodak pocket cameras ever. I trust my stories to cameras and film from Kodak, America's storyteller.
In this country, winter isn't a season. It's a warning, telling you it's time to move down from the cold, down toward a place called Miller Time, and the best tasting beer you can find.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Introducing an American car designed for a changing world and with a commitment to quality. Introducing the beautifully new Ford Granada. Built with a new design, smaller in size, yet more spacious than ever before. Built with Granada's highest mileage ratings ever. And built with Ford's quality control system. 38 different inspectors examine every single car. The new Granada, built for a changing world from Ford.
Back here at Veterans Stadium, and you know, all year long, Merrill Harmon and Ron Luciano have been our broadcasting partners, and right now, Merrill Harmon is with Dodgers manager Tom Lasorda. Let's go to Merrill.
All right, Joe and Tommy, as a rookie manager, you won a pennant with the Dodgers and came back and won the next year. You got two rookie managers in the World Series this year. What's it like?
I'll tell you, that has to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me was, you know, to be the manager of the Dodgers in 1977 and to manage them in the World Series. And, of course, we came back in 78, and both of them happened to be against the New York Yankees. But what a thrill, and I can certainly know how Dallas Green and Jim Fry feel right at this moment.
Okay, Tommy, thank you very much. Now back to the booth.
Okay, here's Manny Trio. There's the strike. Might add, if you're like me and you look at a picture and you see the people behind him, Donald Davidson and Tony Siegel of the Houston Astros seated right behind him. And again, our congratulations to the Astros and Yankees for the battle they had. Sitting here wishing, knowing that maybe for a break or two they would have been here. Oh, just a mess of baseball people here, Tony. A lot of managers. John McNamara, we saw him. But right now it's Larry Gura, who's retired 6 in a row. Misses with a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
One of the reasons, Joe, as John McNamara told us before the ball game, is a lot of trade talk goes on at World Series time. Well, those hospitality suites, and they start throwing players around. That's what the time's all about.
Whitey Herzog is here, and he says he's going to name a Cardinal manager as soon as the World Series is over. See Bob Sheffing, Joe McDonald of the Mets. Joe Torre is here of the Mets. 1-2 pitch, straight away center field. Amos Soto's been busy. This will be his 3rd putout, and there it is.
5 of the 7 outs have been balls hit in the air. 1 ground ball, 1 strikeout. You can just see, Tom, how off Boa the hitters think they are on the ball and it sneaks in on them a little bit, or they're a little bit out in front, as Trio just was. Just off balance, that change of speeds. We use that jug gun a lot. You look at earned run average leaders. We think of sheer speed as doing it, but it's that change of speeds along with other things.
Larry Boa pops it up. Foul territory. George Brett should make the play. He does. There are 2 outs. George Brett was a doubtful starter. You've been with us in the pregame show. The trainer explained his problem. He had a severe attack of hemorrhoids, and he's playing in tremendous pain. It has not bothered his swing at all. He's 2 for 2, but it does bother him running. Here's Bob Boone. Big night last night. 3 for 4, 2 doubles. Curveball is a strike.
As this game goes along, if George Brett does have to slide, it might not bother him so much after all, because he does a lot of head-first sliding anyway, like Pete Rose.
Fastball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs. Gura in and out, up and down, puts a little on, takes a little off, never gives you the same pitch twice. His first appearance in a World Series. Low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Larry won 18 and 10, a 2.95 earned run average. Averages 3.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.4 walks per 9 innings. 19 wins, his personal high. Dedicated young man. Pop foul out of play.
Tom, when you watched Gura, and I know you haven't seen a whole lot of him, is there anybody you can think of in the National League that resembles his style of pitching, left-hander?
Well, I've watched him go through here in well, say 9 hitters so far. There's nobody that I can really think of exactly like him left-handed. I think the only person who would remind me of him would be Don Sutton of the Dodgers from the right-hand side.
Center field. Amos Otis says, well, I'll catch this one too. He does. It's 3 up and 3 down. He has retired the first 9, so it's 9 in a row. After 3 innings of play here, we have no score. Top of the 4th inning for the Kansas City Royals. It'll be John Wathan, Willie Mays Aikens, and Jose Cardinal.
Day in, day out, you go through the same routine. Till one day, that routine turns into a rut. And then it's time to make a run for it. We're AMF. We make what it takes to make that run. We make Roadmaster bikes, Crestliner power boats, head skis and Tyrolia ski bindings. We take you out of your rut and clear to the mountaintop. AMF. We make weekends.
This is for you. An invitation to pivot. This is the Gillette Atra Invitation Razor. Its twin blades keep the perfect shaving angle because of this, the Atra Pivot. It gives you a better shave than any razor that can't pivot. And now you can pick up this Gillette Atra razor for under $1.50. But hurry, this offer to pivot is for a limited time only, so run out before we do.
It's midnight, and you lost your traveler's checks.
My name's Keegan. Where's my money?
Because they're Citicorp traveler's checks, we can get you an emergency refund through Western Union. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Citicorp. America's leading banking institution worldwide.
Thanks.
Take advantage of our size.
Looks like rain.
Travel the world with us, Citicorp traveler's checks.
On Chips, hunters on a rampage create a deadly menace, and it's up to Ponch and John to track them down.
Hold it, please.
Sunday on NBC.
John Wathan will lead it off for Kansas City. He popped to the first baseman his first time up. It's a strike.
You're right. Just looking at that close-up that Harry Coyle got for us, he does, the way he holds his bat. Looked like Steve Garvey.
The way he starts, Tony, reminds me of Steve Garvey anyway.
Strike 2. Keep in mind this thing we call pacing, because Carlton, I think, there's a baseball saying, be in a hurry to win, don't be in a hurry to lose. Bertie Tebbett said that the late and great Joe McCarthy used that a lot as we look at George Brett. And that's what Carlton does, sets his own pace outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This crowd, listen to the buzz. Fly ball, right field, Bake McBride. Now that's about as polite an out reception as you'd want.
The crowd is similar today as it was last night in the ball game when the Phillies got down by 4. But after Boa steal and a base hit and Rose getting hit, I'll tell you, they almost blew us right out of here.
Here is Willie Mays Aikens. He goes through a little ritual with that back line, gets that toe up there, turns his back and kind of peeks over his shoulder. There's a strike. He walked his last time up.
He's moved up a little bit closer on the plate from last night, possibly to protect against that slider and curveball from Carlton.
1 ball, 1 strike.
There it is. He's out of the box again, isn't he?
Two balls and 1 strike. He's digging and he's just kind of messing around with that dirt back there. So he's trying to cover up the line a little bit.
Oh, we'll let Ron Luciano. He explained it last night. He keeps creeping back, Ronnie.
Yeah, but that's Bill Kunkel behind the plate there, and Bill's seen him all year long. And the ruling on that, look, if any part of that foot is touching the line, then he's considered in the box. And with a size 12 foot he has, look at that.
Base hit center field off Carlton. It just hit off the side.
But I got to ask you something, Ron. Why does an umpire tell a hitter? Doesn't the rule say that if he hits the ball in fair territory, you're not supposed to tell him, but then you're supposed to call him out?
You're absolutely right, but you don't think the umpire is going to stand down here and say, hey, Willie, you're out, and 65,000 people shoot him.
Rules are rule.
Rules are rule, but you make the catcher and the manager and everybody else come out and say, hey, do this and do that. And then if they put enough pressure, we'll do it. Otherwise, we're going to keep quiet and stand back there and not have any trouble.
Okay, good idea. Here's Cardinal. High hopper, Boa to trio, one out, over to first, in time, a double play. 6-4-3. And that ends the fourth inning for the Kansas City Royals. Another double play. So we go into the bottom of the fourth. There is no score. Kansas City nothing, Philadelphia nothing.
I used to run through airports. Now I fly through them. With new Hertz #1 Express service, I fly non-stop from my plane to my car without stopping at the counter. If you ask for #1 Express when you make your reservation, your Ford or other fine car and contract will be waiting at the #1 Express booth. Once again, Hertz puts you in the driver's seat faster than anybody else.
When I was a kid working this old gas pump, I never thought I'd be back here telling you that Pennzoil saves gasoline. But now, that same Pennzoil that protects your engine saves you gas. Pennzoil has added gas savings to their regular multi-weight oils, and they've done it at their regular price. That way, more people can afford to save gas.
Gas-saving Pennzoil. Quality in every extra mile.
I'm tennis pro Tracy Austin.
I'm pro photographer Arthur Grace.
To some, I'm still a schoolgirl. To others, I'm a tough competitor.
My Canon AE1 captures the two Tracy Austins. The telephoto lens shows how hard she works. The portrait lens shows how soft she is.
Here, your turn, Tracy.
Okay.
The AE1 makes it easy to shoot like a pro. The incomparable Canon AE1. So advanced, it's simple.
On a comfortably cool evening here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, a packed house here at Veterans Stadium enjoying a battle of left-handers in Game 2. We've played 3.5 scoreless innings. Steve Carlton overpowering at times with 5 strikeouts, but he's allowed 5 hits. Counter to that, the Royals have been wasteful, hitting into 2 double plays, stranding 5 runners. Defensively, Larry Gura has mowed him down. He's retired 9 straight. We're still playing a waiting game as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Joe?
Okay, Brian, here's Gura against Lonnie Smith. And listen to the difference in the crowd now.
Trying to get him charged up. Brett in tight at third base with the speed of Lonnie Smith.
One ball and 1 strike. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Phillies. No runs, 5 hits, no errors for Kansas City. Inside, 2-1.
You know, you can hear the fans, Joe, coming alive. They want a little something to yell about. Larry Gura has very quietly gone onto the mound, retired 9 men in a row. Ball has, you know, there's been one ball that's really been hit very hard by the Philadelphia hitters. They'd like to see a little action here. No hits by the Philly hitters yet.
It's out of play. 7 of 9 have been balls hit in the air, the outs, 1 strikeout, 1 ground ball. And Tom, we make too big of a deal sometimes of the jugs gun, I think, as far as speed. There are other things involved getting hitters out.
Well, there's 3 things when you talk about a fastball: where it goes, the movement it has, and how fast it goes. And Larry Gura is a master at changing speeds on his fastball, different speeds of fastballs.
There's a strikeout, his second strikeout. Took something off the curveball. So there's 1 away, and it brings up Pete Rose. And there is Maury Wills, who was one of our broadcasting partners and now a manager for the Seattle Mariners. Watching the ball game, rookie manager, waited a long time for his chance, and he looks happy. There are many, many baseball people here, as we mentioned, as we look around the crowd. Here's Pete Rose. Going inside. Ball one. Maybe once he can hit again.
You know, that shot he took in the knee last night, that's going to be one of those famous World Series pictures, I think, as he scowled at the pitcher, Leonard, and then went out to the mound and detoured to first base.
10 years from now, that'll be a fall classic flashback. 2 balls and no strikes. But I tell you, it does trigger a lot of thoughts. Listen to the crowd. 2 balls and a strike. Catch. 2 outs in the 4th.
12 in a row retired by Gura.
Tony, you talk about 12 in a row. Maybe I'm hooked on these flashbacks, but I keep thinking Bevins, Larson's perfect game. McBride popped to the 3rd baseman. Out of play.
If I said to try to retire 12 in a row, I meant 11, of course. I got to ask Tom this. Of the factors that you mentioned that a pitcher does, speed, etc., which one of those, if this is possible to answer, is the one that might get all the fly balls for pitchers Gura's getting?
Probably movement, I would say. Movement at the ball as it gets to the hitting zone out in front of home plate. And he might be throwing a pretty good fastball outside, but then when he comes back inside to those hitters, the point you made before, he might put a little extra pop on it. They never get to it. Pop the ball up.
Right to Frank White. Another perfect inning for Larry Gura. 3 up and 3 down. Now he is retired. 12 in a row. We complete 4 innings here, and the score: Kansas City nothing, Philadelphia nothing, and due up will be Frank White, Willie Wilson, UL Washington, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Charlotte, will you marry me?
But her last chance at happiness explodes when Clemma returns.
I'm going to marry her, Charlotte.
Lynn Redgrave stars in Centennial Saturday.
Do you know me? I'm a duke. But these days, people aren't as impressed by that as they used to be. So when I travel, I use the American Express card. They are impressed by that. And I'm impressed with the fact that my receipts come in with the bills. You see, along with my title, I've also inherited a lot of bills.
To apply for a card, look for this display wherever the card is welcomed.
American Express card. Don't leave your castle without it.
The escapes have begun. Ralph's $1 million Great Escapes have begun. Fly free for life in the world of Western Airlines or win $25,000 in cash. Win fabulous 4-wheel drive Chevy Blazers, Western Airlines vacations in Mexico City, holidays in Hawaii, passports to Knott's Berry Farm, more than 300,000 prizes in all.
You can win too.
At Ralph's.
Aretha Franklin in concert Friday after Family Feud.
Joe Garagiola, Tom Seaver, Tony Kubek back at the Vet in Philadelphia. Game 2 of the 1980 World Series. The Phillies won last night's game 7-6 after the Royals had gotten off to a 4-0 lead.
You know, Tom, listening to you and Tony talk about pitching, Warren Spahn had it pretty simple. He said the pitcher needs 2 pitches, one they're looking for and one to cross him up. And that looks like what Gura's doing.
We're in the top of the 5th. Frank White, Willie Wilson, UL Washington against lefty Steve Carlton. Ground ball, broken bat. Gura. Boa short hops it to Rose, 1 out. The Royals have had Steve Carlton in trouble. 2 base hits in the 1st. They stranded both runners. A walk, a strikeout. The man reached base, stranded 2 in that inning. They had 2 more base hits in the 3rd, a double play. They had a base hit in the 4th, another double play.
Corey Leibel is somewhere up in the heavens.
Fouled out of play. We're in the top of the 5th. No score in the ball game. There's our man. The handheld camera, Corey Leibel, up in the light standards. We have had excellent coverage. We hope you think so also. Last night's ball game, a lot of tricky plays for Harry Coyle and our engineers and cameramen to try and capture the rundown play with Lonnie Smith, Brett charging him, Boone scoring, UL Washington lying out in short left field. Right now, Willie Wilson, no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Wilson has struck out both times in this ball game. Carlton has 5. Good curveball, 0-2. Wilson, a natural right-handed hitter. We told you in our little pregame spot, they doubted seriously whether he would hit or not. Another breaking ball. Boone hangs on, so Carlton gets strikeout number 6.
You know, Tony, we're sitting there watching 2 very fine pitchers throw here tonight. Carlton using a lot of breaking balls. Steve Carlton, a very big man, 6'5", about 220 pounds, but 304 innings this year. A real workhorse for the Phillies. There's Jim Fry in the Kansas City Royal dugout.
Wilson now has struck out 3 times in this ball game, 5 times in the first 2 series games. UL Washington, the ground out, and he also struck out. 1 strike, says Bill Kunkel. Kansas City, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. The Phillies, no runs. They have not gotten a hit off Gura yet. They have committed no errors. In the top of the 5th with 2 outs. Breaking ball, a vicious one. 0-2.
Even that youngster thought that was a pretty good curveball. It's about the way I used to swing it, my mouth wide open saying, why?
I wonder, as we look at Herm Starrett, Dallas Green, Starrett the pitching coach, if Carlton just doesn't have his fastball in it because he's gone much more so far tonight to that breaking ball.
Throwing many more breaking balls than really I think you would normally see. Tony, I think that's just a factor of 304 innings.
Curveball again, but it's chopped foul.
Pitched a lot of innings over a great number of years. Been a workhorse. 304, not easy innings. 304 hard innings. Steve isn't a, you know, he doesn't spot the ball in the sense of here and there. Whether he comes at you 100%, big, strong man, and he comes right after you.
2 strikes the count on UL Washington, with no score in this game for the 5th. Fastball way outside. Carlton, a tremendously conditioned athlete. This spring, when Dallas Green, the manager, was starting to get the guys to toe the line, had his pitchers run a lot more, Carlton didn't. And when Dallas Green went through his routine, he said, buddy, you don't have to, because there's nobody in this ball club and probably in the league could go through all your stretching exercise, the lifting, the Nautilus stuff, and that garbage can full of rice that he digs into. Have you tried that, Tom?
No, I haven't been
Oh,
into
it's
that
unreal.
Yet.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to UL Washington. Curveball, could be a base hit. Bo can't reach it. Scoots through on the artificial surface. So Washington's on. He's got speed with 2 outs. There's a possibility of a steal.
And UL Washington, those are not initials for his first and middle name. It's just UL Washington as we watch the replay go there. There's really, some people have names. He's got a name after taxes. UL, just initials.
Carlton waits now as George Brett with a 2-for-2 day steps in. George is singled to center. He is singled to right in front of Bake McBride. So once again, they've got somebody on. They've had a man on base off Carlton in every inning. UL Washington with a good lead on Carlton at first base. He's going to first. UL Washington during the season, 20 stolen bases, caught just 7 times. He's got a bigger lead this time. He's coming over again. 2 outs, Brett the hitter facing Carlton. Boy, he is aggressive. Look at him get off that base, Joe.
Well, I have to believe that was a decoy move by Carlton. You can bet me, because when he popped a good move on, you could see Washington break back to first.
1 ball, no strike. And once again, and the pattern so far has been consistent with a man on first. If he's looking at the base stealer, he's going home. Let's see if he continues. He's pausing. He's going to first. 2 outs, no score in the game. Brett McRae with 4 base hits, the number 3 and 4 hitters for the Royals. Curveball outside. Brett looking down at Gordon McKenzie as UL Washington takes another lead. He's seen a lot of moves from Carlton, both to home plate and to first. Curveball inside, 3-0. And now with UL Washington, a steal threat, even a veteran, as we look at McKenzie again, the third base coach, Carlton has lost his control. I would believe even a veteran can get his attention divided in a steal situation. Outside, Brett's on. So, once again, the Royals have 2 men on base, first and second, and McRae on. McRae coming to bat with 2 outs. McRae single to right, single to left. Hal McRae. A base hit. Made score their only run thus far. Curveball outside, 1 strike. We've got 2 outs here in the vet in Philadelphia. Maddox in center field. There is Brett, the runner, at first. UL Washington at second. Maddox a little bit toward right center field on McRae. Good fastball, good movement. I got to wonder, Tom, also if Carlton has not tried to establish that curveball a little bit, maybe it will begin to make his fastball look that much better.
Well, maybe thinking that his fastball wouldn't develop until later in the game. Definitely throwing a lot of curveballs early. Hopefully maybe his fastball will come around.
0-2 count. He went to the slider. Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It looks to me, Tony, like his front side is flying open awfully quick. He didn't pitch to Brett very well.
Pull the string on a curve. When you say flying open, explain. Does that mean his arm's going to drag behind?
Exactly. The front arm, that would be Steve Carlton's right arm when he comes to home plate, would be flying open, and then his left arm was never be able to get through and get to the strike zone. He threw 4 pitches to Brett. None of them seemed to be very much near the strike zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The 5th inning here in Philadelphia, game number 2 of the World Series. There is no score. Way inside, it goes 2-2.
Here's the pitch. He wants to make it happen right here at 2-2. He's going to lose a little bit of the edge with UL Washington at second, Brett at first if he goes to 3-2, and McRae pretty well knows that.
Carlton has thrown a lot of pitches, and he is not yet through 5 innings. Bounces it. Count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The runners will be on the move.
This will also be a good test for George Brett at first base. He'll have to run hard as soon as the ball starts at the plate. We'll be able to see him.
Coaches are already learning the base runners. Make sure he goes home. Here comes the pitch. The runner's on the move, fouled off by McRae.
And I tell you, I was watching Brett. He is guaranteed hurting.
And he had better be careful at first base because Carlton and Rose have a pickoff play in this situation where Rose will sneak behind the runner. It'll be a count play. Carlton will put on the tricky move, throw behind the runner at first base. So George has got one thing in mind. Make sure he goes home. 3-2, 2 outs. The fans start chanting again. And there's another one. Decoy, nobody covering. Fouled off by McRae.
You know, when you have a fella out there like Carlton with a good move like McClure in Milwaukee, you get all kinds of different instructions as a base runner. Jim Fry, I think, gave the best advice to a bad base runner when McClure was pitching. He told Scotty McGregor, a pitcher, put your left foot on the bag and just stretch as far as you can with your right.
Well, Brett and UL Washington, a little bit base runners, better base runners than that, but it's 3-2 once again and 2 out. They're on the move. He got him. Tremendous sinking type pitch. As Carlton pitches out of another one, Kansas City has now stranded 7 through 5. The score here in Philadelphia, well, there isn't any. Due up for Philadelphia in the 5th. Mike Schmidt, Keith Moreland, Gary Maddox.
You're feeling good about yourself. And it shows the way you should about yourself.
You're feeling good about yourself. You're drinking Diet Pepsi-Cola with just 1 calorie and that great honest-to-Pepsi taste. And it shows in the way you look, the way you feel, and in everything you do. Diet Pepsi. 1 small calorie, 1 great taste.
Could we see the McCulloch 610 chainsaw?
But you're beavers.
Oh, it's not for us. It's a birthday present for our dad. He just doesn't have the bite he used to.
Well, the 610 sure has power to spare. Come on around back, boys.
Gosh, it starts faster than Dad, too.
Well, that's the electronic ignition.
Gee.
And it's got anti-vibration for smooth cutting.
Gee whiz. What's that?
The chain brake for safety.
Wow.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Can it sing Happy Birthday? Take it easy, Barney.
McCulloch 610. Sawing is believing. They killed his wife. They killed his child. And now he rides for revenge. Clint Eastwood is the outlaw Josie Wales Sunday.
A beautiful shot from way up high at Veterans Stadium in game number 2 of the 1980 World Series. We're going to the bottom of the 5th. Schmidt, Moreland, and Maddox.
Tony, when this game started, it was 58 degrees. It's dropped 3 degrees, but it's a delightful evening here. Just a perfect night, I think. 55 degrees right now.
Larry Gura, with 18 wins on the season, has retired 12 consecutive Phillies. 9 have been on balls hit in the air, 2 strikeouts, 1 ground ball. The fans start hooting for Mike Schmidt, who grounded out in the 2nd. Gura with outstanding off-speed stuff. He's really changed speed on his fastball, mixed in a slider. They are deep in the infield and the outfield for Schmidt. Way outside by Gura, 1 ball. There's the defensive alignment. You can see UL Washington in a hole defensively at shortstop. Otis deep in left center field slightly. Good pitch, low on the outside corner, 1-1. That's what Larry Gura's done so far tonight. Has not allowed a hit. Two balls and 1 strike, so Gura drops behind. And you can hear the fans, if you can't make out what they're saying, it is, "We want a hit." To Mike Schmidt. No score, no hits being allowed by Gura to this point. Right there in the outside part of the plate. Outside corner, count goes 2-2 to Schmidt. Gura pitched a 1-hitter against Toronto earlier this year. Damaso Garcia led that game off with a single, then he retired everybody else. Count goes full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Schmidt wants a look at the ball. Second base umpire Don Dinkiger, American League, out to get a frisbee. Kunkel at home plate, Pryor at first, Don Dinkiger at second, Dutch Renard at third, left field foul line Nick Bremigan, right field foul line Harry Wendelstedt.
The umpire got booed for missing the frisbee.
That's Dutch Renard. He's the guy who knew that last night the imposter was up at home plate with the other umpires. He said he thought it was cute, had a few laughs. Some didn't at World Series time, however. So it's a 3-2 count with no score in this ball game. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Gura facing Mike Schmidt. Fouled off. Got Kunkel the mask.
Watch his foul tip. It gets Kunkel pretty good. Straighten the mask. And as Luciano knows, when you get hit like that, it's like putting your head in a bell.
Mike Schmidt facing Gura. Curveball hit deep to left field. If it is fair, it is way out of here, but foul. He threw him a breaking ball down and in, which is a power spot for Mike Schmidt.
Looked like a breaking ball inside. Watch Schmidt watch this ball now. He knows it's going foul. He gives a little bit of body angle. Stay in there. Get in there. Get in there. Carlton Fisk in '75 it worked, but it didn't work this time.
When a guy hits the ball as hard as Schmidt just does, it usually hooks by a lot. 3-2 again. Chopper. Brett to his left. To Aikens, they retire Schmidt. 13 in a row retired by Larry Gura. He's got the no-hitter going. It's still early. Just the 5th inning. Right now, we're going to remind you this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. I did it fast because I don't want to miss anything. Keith Moreland, he lined to left field in the second. 1 strike.
You know, Tony, watching Gura work here, he's been behind twice is all during the entire game. Both times to Pete Rose. He was 2 balls and no strikes to Pete Rose. Got him to out both times.
Tough play, tough play. UL Washington is not going to get it. Tough play. Brett with that problem may not have been able to move fast enough to his left where he could have gotten that ball on the artificial surface, but Moreland breaks the streak, the first base hit off Larry Gura.
No doubt about it, it was a base hit. He digs hard, and I'm sure he'll be talking like he always does. Not too pretty, but effective. UL did everything he could, but it was just impossible to get Moreland. It was close, though.
I'll tell you, UL Washington made it close. Moreland doesn't run that well.
There's a good shot from the left field camera. Had George Brett maybe been healthy, got a good chance of making that play. Tony, you know a lot better, seen him a lot more, many more times than I have.
Tom, he is a very aggressive third baseman. He makes some errors and is inconsistent throwing, but he goes after a lot of balls. He's one of these divers. He dives after balls and gets back up. Now it's Maddox who struck out in the second. We still have no score. One base hit. That was it by Moreland. He beat out a ground ball, the deep short. Deep to left, but it's going to be foul.
Tom, what does that do to a pitcher when he's pitching good? Not the base hit, but Schmidt hit the ball hard, and now Maddox hit the ball hard. Does that put a doubt in your mind?
Well, not the way they hit it, Joe. No, really. I think a 3-2 pitch. Gura's only been 3-2 on one hitter, and that was Mike Schmidt. He got in a 3-2 situation. He fouled back a fastball, and they threw a curveball and got way out in front of him. So Schmidt really did what Larry Gura wanted him to do. He got him way out in front. Of course, the fastball, he grounded out.
I think a guy like Gura gets a lot of balls hit hard in foul territory off him anyway because he pulls the string, and if you're right on it, or if he's just off the inside corner, if you're going to hit it well, you're going to pull it foul. Otherwise, it jams you. 2 balls, 1 strike. So Gura once again behind the hitter. As Tom told you, this is the 3rd one now. It's behind Maddox with Moreland down at first base. We're the bottom of the 5th. Moreland with a good lead. He does not have good speed. Gura facing Maddox. Wathan flashing the signs. He wanted to go inside at first. Now he's changed his pattern. He moves outside. You can probably see Gura does not have the outstanding move that Steve Carlton does. 1 out. Way out in front. He fooled him again, fouls it off, count goes 2-2. Every once in a while, Tom, Gura, when he pulls the string, and it's a sinker ball, that ball almost reacted like a screwball.
Ball will run away from the right-handed hitters. Maddox, a good contact hitter with 2 strikes. Gura very good at changing speeds. Looks like they're going back outside again.
Curveball drill just out of the reach of Brett. It's in the corner. Willie Wilson chased it down. Moreland between second and third. Here comes the relay throw. He's held up by Elia. So 2 base hits in the setting. A single by Moreland, a double by Maddox.
Ball was inside, and Maddox hit it right on that fat part. Willie Wilson got over there in good shape. Now, in the championship series, they made the play at the plate. Wilson overthrew UL Washington and went to Brett, but this time he hit the cutoff man. They got away with it. They call it their trailer play in the championship series, but what they did was miss the cutoff man. It's like going out to shoot an eagle. You kill a crow and they give you a medal. It was a bad play that paid off.
With 1 out, Lee Elia, the third base coach, decided to hold up Moreland. Had there been 2, he might have taken a chance. Now it's Manny Trio. Brett comes in tight at third, Aikens at first. UL Washington was about halfway with White. Now they're moving back. Gura will pitch from the stretch. Trio fly to center field to third. There is no score. 1 ball to Trio. Up until the base hit by Moreland, this Philadelphia crowd has not had a whole lot to cheer about because Gura had shut off their water until that base hit. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. 2 men on, second and third for the Phillies. 2-0. There's the base runner, Moreland at third. Now Maddox at second. And you got to wonder with Trio, who bats in the number 5 spot for the Phillies at time, that Gura might, with first base open, pitch around him, make him hit a perfect pitch to pitch to Boa. Boa, not the kind of guy you can double up too easily, but he doesn't hit the ball as hard to the outfield. 2-0. Fly ball, right center field. Jose Cardenal back to the warning track. Moreland will make it easily. The throw comes in as Moreland scores the first run of the ball game, and Maddox goes to third. Phillies lead 1-0. So Keith Moreland scores his first run for the Phillies in World Series play today, and first ever for him in a World Series. So now Maddox is at third with 2 out. Boa is the hitter, and you've got to be careful. Brett knows it, and so does Akins, even with 2 out, in case Boa tries to beat out a bunt. So they are tight at the corners. Boa, the switch hitter, hitting from the right side. Line drive, base hit. Boa, an RBI single, scores Maddox. It's 2-0.
Jumps on a high fastball, or at least is right about belt high, which I guess you'd call a high fastball. And it's a big, big run to pick up here. Now he's the base stealing threat, obviously.
One thing that'll drive a manager and pitching coaches wild is how a pitcher can go through and get 12 easy outs and all of a sudden lose everything like that, Tony. But maybe not necessarily lose everything. He's gone through the Philly lineup once, and now they're seeing him for the second time. Now they know what he can do. They know what he can't do, and they're a little bit smarter hitters possibly going through and seeing him for the second time.
Boa with a good lead with 2 outs with Boone out. Ruben Amaro, who has seen that move of Gura several times. I believe he was talking to the umpire, first base umpire Pryor, about Gura's right foot going past the pitcher's rubber and then going to first base, which would be a balk. Boone hitting. Phillies lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 1 strike.
8 of Gura's last 12 pitches have been fastballs, Tony. And Bob Boone, a dead first ball fastball hitter, a dead first ball high fastball hitter. He did get that one down in the strike zone.
You mentioned a while ago about the Phillies hitter catching up to him the second time through the lineup. Are you saying he is not adjusting soon enough, or maybe incapable of adjusting and changing his pitching pattern because they've caught on to it?
Maybe now, not realizing that he's got to start throwing more breaking balls. Maybe they have gotten on to his fastballs. Now it's time to start throwing some other pitches.
Boa with an excellent lead. Way inside to Boone. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 down. Phillies lead 2-0, bottom of the 5th.
Tom, you got Paul Mosco charting for you. If you were pitching, would a guy charting the pitches tell you that? Or would a coach tell you? How would you know?
A coach should come to the mound and tell you what the chart says. Or if you come in between and he's sitting on the bench, you sit next to the guy that's keeping the chart, and he can tell you then.
1-1 pitch, outside, 2-1. You know, earlier this season, Tom, we did a Saturday game that you pitched, and Joe posed the question in the booth and asked you later about going to your catcher and continuously calling him out. What would you talk about if you called a catcher out?
I want to know where those hitters are making contact with that ball. Are they hitting it out in front of the strike zone, even with the strike zone behind? Are they behind the fastball? Because if they're getting out in front of the ball, then I have to make adjustments to my fastball.
Way outside, it goes 3-1. What you're saying is that there are times, even on the rubber, when you release the ball, you can't tell yourself.
I want to know. I want to know if the hitters are catching up with me, which is the way it seems they've done with Larry Gura here, the last 3 or 4 hitters. Then you have to make adjustments in some of the speeds of the pitches that you're making.
The count is run to 3-1 on Bob Boone with 2 outs and Bo at first. He's got a good lead on Gura. He's not going. He walks him. So now runners are at first and second. And Lonnie Smith will step in.
9 fastballs in a row from Larry Gura. He was a little upset about that last pitch. He thought that was a strike. And he's getting a visit from Billy Connors, the first visit out of the Royal dugout tonight.
You know, a few years ago, when I saw Billy Connors as a minor league pitching coach for the Mets, I saw the kids play a ball game, and he said he had seen you on television one day, and he said, I was to tell you when I saw you the next time about some mechanical flaw he'd picked up, and he said he called you.
I get called from Billy very often during the year. There's Marty Patton, it looks like, in the Royal bullpen, the senior member of the Kansas City staff. Billy calls me about 3 or 4 times a year, lets me know what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong.
All right.
Called me quite a bit this year.
Now, you had a good finish. So, Billy Connors' trip to the mound is over. Bo is at second. Boone is at first. Lonnie Smith, the hitter. There are 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 5th with the Phillies leading 2-0. Breaking ball for a strike.
You don't think this game can change in a hurry as we look at Boa and Boone at the base runners second and first. Retired 13 men in a row. He gets a visit from the pitching coach. Larry's close to being taken out of this game.
1 strike to Smith. Another breaking ball. He's got him. He has gone to more breaking balls. He called it right.
Right after Billy had gone out to see him, he threw 8 fastballs in a row. Billy Connors goes out to see him and say, hey, you got more pitches than that fastball you're throwing. First 2 pitches to Smith, curveballs.
Let's see if he shows him the fastball now and comes back with the breaking pitch.
0-2, 2 men on. Wathan flashing the signs. He moves away. Another breaking ball, check swing.
Gura can't believe it.
1-2.
I can't understand the signs they gave, too. With the man on second base, he put down 1 and 2. Here's the pitch, the curveball. You can call it from here.
That's a pitch that Gura will throw quite frequently to the right-handers. You can see Wathan set up outside, and he will have a curveball surround the outside corner and hope he gets the call.
I just glanced over at Luciano. You should have seen his face on that pitch.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 men on. Lonnie Smith facing Gura. Smith is flied out and struck out. Bo is going. Fly ball right field. Bo was off, but Cardinale should have it easily. He's got it for the 3rd out, but the Phillies on 3 base hits, a sacrifice fly, a single by Bo, take the lead after 5, 2-0. 1956, Don Larson. Let's take you back. Mal Allen's voice. The Yankees against the Dodgers, a perfect game.
So far, Don Larson's not allowed a Dodger to reach base. Bill Hodges is the batter. There's a drive going to deep left center field. Mickey Mantle racing over, makes a great backhanded catch to preserve Larson's perfect game. The only one in World Series history.
Unforgettable. In 1955, this voice was becoming a legend. That's what you are. That same year, a legend was born for the road, Thunderbird. For 1981, the Thunder's still there, in a sleek new Heritage Thunderbird. In an interior filled with comfort and technical innovations, in standard automatic overdrive, and in a dedication to the road that remains as true to its heritage as this voice does to the name Cole.
That's why it's so incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
The legend lives on because the Thunder's still there. There's
a world of better ideas coming from Ford.
Right Guard knows a man sweats more than a woman. That's why a man needs Right Guard. Right Guard has a male effectiveness formula. A formula so strong, more men count on it to help stop perspiration odor every day. Right Guard knows there's a difference between you. Men perspire more. And that's what Right Guard's for.
Going to the 6th in Philadelphia, it'll be Amos Otis, John Wathen, Willie Mays Aiken to face Steve Carlton. There's your score, 2-0 the Phillies lead. Carlton has allowed 6 hits. Phillies finally got to Gura in the bottom of the 5th. Otis is grounded out, and he's hit into a double play. The Royals have stranded 7 so far in this ball game. 2 double plays have helped Carlton out, and 6 strikeouts also. 1 strike to Otis. They continue to force Carlton, or try to force him to change his rhythm and his pattern as they step out. They've done an awful lot of that today.
Coming into this inning, Tony, Carlton has thrown 82 pitches, which would be a little bit above average. You probably average about 14, 15 pitches, being a power pitcher, thrown about an equal number of fastballs as breaking balls.
Otis fakes a bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Look at this. Kunkel's going out to talk to him about something. I wonder if he's going to, maybe the cuts of the baseballs in the same spot.
Well, there have been a couple of pitches in this ball game that I question. Tom Seavers knows they're just a moving fastball.
You know what they're using, Tony? They're using a baseball, a World Series baseball, as opposed to a National League baseball that Carlton has been used to all year long. They're using the baseball that has 1980 World Series on it tonight.
You mean the printing's going to bother him? Yeah. Come on now, you're not doing an operation.
You guys are all against the pitches.
Are you
well,
kidding?
the National League and the American ball is identical. It's exactly the same. It's made in the same place, stitched in the same place, Haiti.
It's not the same.
Same kind of hide.
It's not the same. The coloring is different on there. National League is black and the American League is blue or green.
I want to get this in as a catcher. Pitchers start out as kids with a taped up old baseball, then they get to the big leagues with a new ball, and you think they were brain surgeons.
You know, wait a minute. Look at the hitter on the on-deck circuit. He's got pine tar, he's got rosin, he's got weights, he's got everything in the world over there. He's got a lower mound.
Top of the 6th.
They got it all in their favor.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Otis. Phillies lead 2-0. Way inside 3-2. I'll bet if we had a chance to ask Ron Luciano, we probably will. He could tell you that pitchers have thrown balls out. He's put the same ball in his pocket, thrown it right back out, and given the guy the same ball, and he threw it. He didn't even know the difference. Three and 2 to Otis. Did you ever do that, Ronnie?
Oh, all the time. You get that all the time. Every time we put it in the same pocket, and they'll ask for a ball and we'll throw it out. The reason Kunkel went out to the mound, he said, listen, is the coloring bothering you or what? What do you want me to do with these balls? I've only got so many, and I keep giving you new ones, and you keep throwing them back.
That's a dangerous question for an umpire to ask a pitcher what to do with those balls.
No, but that happens. There's only one pitcher in history, for me, in 15 years of umpire, that ever threw out the same ball to me 2 or 3 times consecutively, and that was Jim Palmer. I put that same ball back in my pocket, and every time I throw it to him, he'd throw it back.
3 and 2, Carlton to Amos Otis. Breaking ball almost got Steve Carlton. A vicious line drive right over lefty's head. So Otis with speed is on, but the Royals do trail by 2 runs. 7th base hit for the Royals. There it is. It is no longer horsehide, it is cowhide. That change took place a while ago. That's an official American League ball with Mr. Lee McPhail, the president's name on it.
It's the printing that does it for the pitchers, though, Tony. The printing.
Otis in 1980, 15 of 16 stolen bases. With 2 runs down, well, we said last night, unlikely that Bowe would go, as Carlton goes 1-0 on Wathen. And he went, and then Frank White did it later on in the ballgame in the 7th inning with his team down by 3. And Bowe still did seem to excite that Phillies team and surprise Leonard. 1 ball, no strikes. Wathan is popped out and flied out to right. No outs. Just missed. 2 balls, no strikes. Wathan looking at Gordy McKenzie at third. Right now, we're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Denise, a child abuser's true story, tonight at 9 on KNBC Los Angeles.
I don't know where those last 2 pitches missed, but they did. It's now 3-0. There's your score. Phillies 2, Royals nothing. Top of the 6th, no outs. Joe Garagiola, Tom Seaver, Tony Kubek. Game number 2 of the 1980 World Series. He walks Wathan, so once again, Carlton has 2 men on base. There are no outs. It's the 5th time in this ball game in 6 innings the Royals have had 2 men on base against Steve Carlton. But he has struck out 7, and he has gotten a couple of double plays. 65,775 people here tonight in the vet. They've seen so far Carlton struggle along. Gura pitched strongly, but Gura's down 2-0. Chopper could be trouble. Aikens does not win well, but he will do a job. Trio throws it away. A run will score. That's Otis making it 2-1 as runners go on first and third. He was slow close to Pete Rose on that high hopper. He threw it too hard and he blew it right by Rose.
Aikens, of course, Tony, does not run well, and Trio got to the ball, made a pretty good play as the ball bounces very high, and he's right in front of him, and he would have gotten Aikens had it been a good throw. But throws it right by Pete, costs him a run.
He really gets up to get that ball. I'm not so sure he threw it so hard.
Right through the webbing.
Right, looked like he was just kind of side-arming it to Pete and just went right by him.
That replay showed very well. Pete's glove was on the ball, but he got it on the end of the glove, and it knocked it right back. The webbing did not break. But right now, we've got runners at first and third, no outs. Jose Cardinal, he pops it up out of play. They have scored an error on the throw to Trio. Boone out now. Now coming back from behind home plate. But that is the kind of play. They've charged the error to Trio now, but after a ball game, the official scores can confer with the people involved, and they might change the decision. But right now, it's an error for Trio. Way inside and into the dirt. Cardinal wants to look at the ball. Phil's 2, Kansas City 1. There's Wathan at third. Aikens at first, not being held by Pete Rose. Aikens been on base all 3 times today. A walk, a single, and now the error. Cardinal, he's struck out. He's into a double play. Tried to check. Tough curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Carlton's had an outstanding breaking ball all night long, and another example of it. This is a situation where he wants a strikeout. First and third, nobody out. If he strikes Cardinal out, he can still get out of the inning with a double play, just 1 run given up.
1-2 pitch way outside, goes 2-2. Tom, that last replay from center field showed very vividly as we look at Wathan at third, Aikens at first, the strain on the pitcher's arm and elbow. The way that thing was contorted and the speed that was built up. Check swing. Boone asks for the appeal. Home plate umpire Kunkel says, give me a sign. Paul Pryor says, He did not go far enough. So now it goes 3-2 with Aikens on first and Wathan on third.
Another example of the curveball you're talking about, Tony. Really gets up, really wraps it, and pulls hard. This is a situation Carlton definitely wants a strikeout. Cardinal didn't go around. Paul Pryor made the right call.
Will Aikens be going? He's not. Breaking ball chopped in front of the plate. Wathan's going to score, but it rolls foul. Wisely, Pete Rose and Carlton, 2 veterans, let it scoot foul. You never know, though. That could be a very good play the way it stands, but with no outs, if they get at least 1 out, the runner at first or second, which may have been impossible, but we'll see what happens. 3-2, no outs. Phil's 2, Kansas City 1. Again, that picture that we showed of Carlton from center field, it is no wonder when you see that. There's Wathan back to third, Aikens at first, that you see all the scars on the elbows and shoulders of pitchers these days. Jose Cardinal with a 3-2 count. 2-1, the Phillies lead over Kansas City, but the Royals have something going with no outs, runners at the corners. Fastball, he blew it by him inside and high. He had thrown breaking ball after breaking ball and set Cardinal up. It might have been a ball, but Cardinal could not lay off.
Not on a full count. This is a good pitch, and he had to get the strikeout, and he got it, of course, which is the sign of the good pitcher. White's up there now, Tony, and the tying run is on at third base. And White can handle that bat. You got to look for anything.
Well, he may do a number of things. He could bunt for a base hit. He could hit to the opposite field, but he'd like to have most of all a sacrifice fly. A pitch up in the strike zone, because he's primarily a high ball hitter, that he can drive to the outfield where the sac fly will score a run and tie it. One strike. There's the alignment. Maddox very shallow in right center field. McBride about straightaway right, maybe shading a little bit toward the foul line. Big gap in left center field. One strike, one out. Chop foul. So Carlton way ahead of Frank White. White has struck out, but he reached first base when the ball got by Boone in the second. He grounded out in the fifth. Put you on the spot, Tom. No balls, 2 strikes. He struck out Cardinal with a fastball after a breaking ball diet. He's gone, what, 1 fastball, 1 curve to White. What do you think he's going
I think he wants a double play with a ground ball to the left side over there. I think he's going to go with the slider.
He's gotten 2 in this ball game. He's got it again. Boa to Trio to Rose. So the third double play for the Phillies. Carlton gives up a run, but it could have been a lot worse. So we'll go to the bottom of the 6th here in Philadelphia with a score. The Phillies 2, the Kansas City Royals 1. And here's that last play, the pitch you said he'd throw, Tom.
Carlton did exactly what you have to do to get out of that situation. He struck out Cardinal and then gets the double play, leaves the tying run at third base. Excellent pitching by Steve Carlton.
Phil's 2, Kansas City 1. There's the score. 2 up. Pete Rose, the number 2 hitter. Big McBride and Mike Schmidt.
I make one trick shot in a light beer commercial, and everybody thinks they know how to shoot pool. So these guys decided to take me on to shoot a little pool and drink a little light beer from Miller. Because it's less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Let's quit talking and start chalking.
You break, Bubba. Sure, I haven't broken anything all day.
Hey, Mickey, what happened? It's a mystery to me.
You show him, Rodney.
Yeah, show
him.
You guys got me all wrong. I think light tastes great, too. But when you're shooting pool, the only thing you want to get filled up is the bottom. 14 6 ball combination.
Steve, how do you do that?
Practice, practice, practice.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
It looks like a small, handsome, leather-bound book, but open it up. It's the world's finest instant camera, a single-lens reflex that will focus itself with sound waves. Honest, that's what it does. Now you can forget all the mechanics and look for the unusual picture. You'll see it right through the lens just before you shoot. And the camera hands it to you, beautifully sharp, even in close. Now look, no other camera can do that. Polaroid's SX70 sonar. It's time you own the best of something.
Charlotte, will you marry me? But her last chance at happiness explodes when Clemma returns.
I'm going to marry her, Charlotte.
Lynn Redgrave stars in Centennial Saturday.
As we move to the bottom of the 6th, the Phillies are in front 2-1, and the Royals have had to bring in Dave Chalk to play third. Evidently, George Brett's hemorrhoid condition has forced him to the sidelines. The Phillies, as they did last night, have shown an amazing capacity to come on strong when things look worse. Larry Gura retired the first 13, and the Phillies exploded for their 2 runs. Steve Carlton, on the other hand, has not been much of a mystery. Pete Rose set to lead off here. He got hit last night by Dennis Leonard. That ignited a rally. We turn it over to Joe and Tony.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Pete Rose, 1 ball, no strikes. Larry Gura on the mound. Gura had 13 consecutive retired. 2-1, the Phillies lead over Kansas City. Pete Rose, right center field. Jose Cardinal's got it. So Rose has flied out 3 times in this ball game. Twice to center field, this time to right. Schmidt was the 13th consecutive man retired by Gura. That led off the 5th. seemed like a peaceful start for Gura of the 5th inning, but then Moreland singled, first base hit, the deep shortstop that Brett could not get to. Maddox doubled, Trio with a sacrifice fly, Bo with an RBI single. Those are the 2 Phillies runs. Now it's McBride up with 1 out, 1 strike. Phil's over Kansas City. 1 strike on McBride with 1 out. 1-1. Kansas City scored their only run. It could have been worse in the 6th with Otis single, walk, air by Trio. Cardinale struck out, White into a double play. Pulled a string on a breaking pitch. Goes 2 balls, 1 strike on Big McBride. Tom, Big McBride, from what we've seen him, and I know he's had some problems with his knees, and part of it due to this hard artificial surface. He doesn't butt a whole lot, does he?
Tries to make contact, Tony, especially with that hard dirt out in front of home plate here in Philadelphia. Not a good bunter, just wants to get it in play and utilize his speed.
2 balls, 2 strikes to McBride.
He'll show you spurts of power the way he did last night. You throw the ball down there where he can turn on it with that little bat. He can hit the ball out of this ballpark very easily. More of a contact hitter, though.
2-2. Count goes full to McBride with 1 out. Here's where a hitter, especially a left-hander, is kind of in a funny situation off a pitcher like Gura, because he can throw you any of 4 or 5 different pitches at different speeds. He missed away. So McBride is on first base with 1 out with a walk. Now it's Schmidt, the hitter. Second base on balls getting up by Larry Gura. Schmidt has grounded out to third twice in this game. But he was right on 1 pitch, one of the 2 times at bat, but it hooked foul just to the left of the pole. Mike Schmidt, Major League's home run leader this year with 48. As you didn't hear last night, we'll say it again, he broke Eddie Matthews' record for the 3rd baseman. Matthews had 47. Way outside again, he's lost his control. 1 ball, no strikes. Mike Schmidt.
Well, he got behind Schmidt last time, Tony, and ran into 3-2, and Mike had 2 good cuts. One cut at a high fastball, he fell back. The other curveball that he hit for home run, pulled it foul, a foul home run, and he grounded out.
Right at first. Foul out of play, 1-1.
Schmidt looked to me like he was carrying all the pressure in the world in those playoff games. Like he had to drive in the run every time it got to second base. And I think he was really frustrated. The Astros pitched him very well, came in here last night, game 1 of the World Series, but it looks like he's been a little bit more selective now. Calmed himself down more, maybe looking for his pitch, a pitch he can drive.
1-1 pitch to Mike Schmidt. You know, in those playoffs, though, even though Luzinski did not have a good year, hit just 19 home runs, because they tried so hard to pitch around Mike Schmidt, the Astros did, Luzinski had 2 game-winning RBI hits. Home run and a double to left field. Inside, 2-1. And I think it's really something when a guy like Schmidt had the kind of year that he did, RBIs, home runs, cut down on his strikeouts considerably, when you figure Luzinski has backed him up so well down through the years with the good years, that Schmidt still had a good year when they were trying to pitch around him at times. 2 balls, 1 strike. 1 out, right at first, Phillies lead 2-1. He gets it hard again, but it hooks foul. 2-2.
You know, I've heard good hitters talk that when you hit the ball that hard, they really don't give that much credit to the pitcher. They say it's just bad hitting because you're too far out in front. Tom, I don't think that was a pitch that Gura would lay there to have him pull foul like sometimes pitchers will do.
Not in that situation right
no,
there.
I don't think
Joe,
so.
No way at all. He's trying to get the ball on the ground here. He wants a double play, get out of this inning if he can.
In fact,
Schmidt runs well, but still, Gura's looking for the double play ball same way that Carlton was looking for the double play ball last inning.
Well, Joe and I both know a guy who they used to pitch inside and make him purposely hit the ball foul. It was Yogi. They'd throw him 2 pitches, he'd whale him foul on the right field line, he'd be way ahead. Here's the pitch, drilled hard. Base hit by Mike Schmidt on a 2-2 pitch. McBride will stop at second base, so the Phillies have 2 men out, first and second, with 1 out. They lead 2-1. Frank White, you can see him putting the finger on his chest. He was telling UL Washington and Larry Gura, with Moreland coming up, a ball hit back to the pitcher in a double play situation, which you've got now. I've got the throw. There's McBride at second. He has speed.
Kansas City bullpen getting busy, Tony.
Dan Quisenberry, he pitched last night. He's the man, comes from down under with that fork ball also. He's warming up for the Royals. 33 saves on the year, tied with the Goose, Gossage of the Yankees. Gura facing Moreland. He got the first base hit, a chopper, could be 2. UL Washington, the White, good pivot to Willie Mays Aikens. They double him up, so Gura with the sinker ball pitches out of the inning with a double play. So after 6 here in Philadelphia in game number 2 of the series, the Phillies lead 2-1 over the Royals, and we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
The man who started it all is back. It's the Steve Allen Comedy Hour with Lucille Ball, Steve Martin, and George Kennedy. One of TV's all-time greats returns Saturday.
The Yankees won 22 World Series. No other teams come close. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. No other teams come close. American Airlines has been the #1 choice for domestic travel in 3 straight surveys of frequent flyers. No other airlines won even once. The main reason we won, service, and the American team that delivers it.
We're American Airlines, doing what we do best.
Looking forward.
Ah, you found the perfect car. Now all you need's a rich uncle.
Looking forward.
At Security Pacific Bank, we can help you apply for an auto loan or an auto lease. That perfect car, we're looking forward to making it possible. Security Pacific Bank, looking forward to serving people better.
Saturday at 7, it's Big City Comedy with guest Fred Willard.
Joe Garagiola with Tony Kupek and Tom Seaver here in Veterans Stadium. The Phillies 2-1 over the Royals. Larry Gura has given up just 4 base hits, but he's given up 2 runs. Steve Carlton has been able to come up with that big pitch when he needed it, and he is leading by a run. Carlton has struck out 7. He has walked 3. He's had 3 big double plays. And here is Willie Wilson to lead it off. He's had a tough night. He's had a tough series. He has struck out the last 4 times that he has batted. 2 balls, no strikes. And I'll tell you, if they stop him, they're going to stop that club. We're taking a look at the Kansas City dugout. George Brett is not in the dugout, obviously in the clubhouse, surmising, we are up here, that it was just too painful to play. And if you're a Kansas City Royals fan, you have to think about that, because that fellow would not take himself out of a World Series game to begin with, especially a 2-1 ball game when this team is behind. 3-0, ball 4.
Brett was on base all 3 times in this ball game, a walk and 2 base hits off Carlton.
So the tying run is on now. UL Washington and Wilson, we don't have to tell you. The official report on Brett, by the way, report from the clubhouse, was just discomfort, which is another way of saying it just hurt too much to play. And you just have to believe that it did. Tough break for the Kansas City Royals, but much like the Houston Astros, when they got some bad breaks, they turned it around. Let's see if the Royals can do it. Wilson, who says, I just get a lead and I run. That's as simple as he makes it, and he's been pretty successful. He almost had him. Oh, they popped his shoestrings that time. He was really leaning.
Jose Martinez is arguing once again about that leg kick, and that's the one where he tries to freeze the runner. The first time he's tried it tonight, where he paused, he hesitated a little bit longer. Here's Wilson being held by Rose. He got his feet tangled up. Many times a good base stealer will come in head first because it's much more quick. Pryor, the man calling the play, National League umpire. Watch the leg kick. That's a move he hadn't shown before.
Certainly looks like he's ready to take off, Tony. No question about that.
There's the strike.
First time he's been on base here in the World Series. A good guess you're going to see him running somewhere. 79 out of 89 attempts in 1980 at stolen bases for Willie Wilson. 79 of 89.
And he did not run indiscriminately. He didn't run when they had big leagues or when they were way behind. Most of them were legitimate steals, just like Ricky Henderson from Oakland.
Wilson, a tremendous athlete. I don't have any technique, he says. I just try and get a good lead and go out and run. There he is. He's a tying run. Carlton knows it.
Joe, with Brett out of the ball game, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's an off day tomorrow for game number 3, but there is not one man on this ball club that can replace a great player like Brett. It's going to have to be a combination. Willie Wilson, McRae, they're all going to have to pick up part of the slack.
Last ball misses, 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's got Wilson scared now, doesn't he?
Well, I'm not
coming back.
He's faking him back. He's popping him back to the bag. He's just not as sure as he was when he first got on. But look at that concentration. Look at him staring. Great shot. Different base runners watch different movements. Maury Wills, we had a shot at him. Brock, it was a rhythm thing. Count, flow. Bunted, back to Carlton. Carlton will have to go to first base. Trio just barely there, and they get him.
And that bunt surprised him because Pete Rose was not charging. He was so intent on the throws over from Carlton that he wasn't really looking for a bunt. Here it is, UL Washington, a fundamentally sound team. Carlton with a follow through, as most left-handers do, over toward the third baseline. He recovers as Rose couldn't get it. Trio barely gets over on time to get Washington.
So now it's Dave Chalk who replaced George Brett, and what a difference it makes. Chalk hit .251 in the regular season. Hit 1 home run down the right field line. Foul territory, everybody chasing it. No one can get it.
And if he had caught that, Willie Wilson was tagging up. He was going to third, and he might have rounded the bag and kept on going. He's that fast. Here's Rose in pursuit. All this time, as Rose finds the stands and the warning track, Willie Wilson is standing on second base. And had Rose caught that and did a tumble or hesitated, you might have seen Wilson try and score.
There he goes. Safe. Willie Wilson just stole third. And he literally outran that ball, a down and up slide. And now the tying run is on at third base. That's why they say he is a disruptive force. He not only breaks your concentration, he helps his own ball club by just making things happen. Look at that.
Most pitchers don't care to try a pickoff move, as we watch Wilson again. A pickoff move towards second, especially a little bit later on in the ball game as he steals it easily, where they might throw the ball away into center field. Now the infield's forced to come in.
It's high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Once again, Kansas City a chance to tie it up here. Carlton got a double play to end that 6th inning when they had a chance to tie it. Wilson is on. 1 man out. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. High, 3-1. This is the man he wants because the on-deck hitter is Hal McRae.
Well, is the possibility of a squeeze play gone? Chalk is hitting in Brett's spot. It is always a possibility because Chalk is not that good a hitter.
Walked him, and that's a bad piece of pitching, Tom.
You know, he didn't have to face George Brett there, and you wondered if it went through Jim Fry's mind to put George Brett as a DH. Let him sit over there and not have to play defense with the discomfort that he is having. Just let him hit, possibly not lose his bat.
Well, the reason he didn't do it, because then he would have had to take McRae out of the lineup or put him defensively, which he did not want to do. And McRae's had rotator cuff surgery. He doesn't throw well or move around that well anymore.
Here's McRae, 2 base hits. Struck out in the 5th, 2 for 3. Line drive, foul. You know, some people, I'm sure, big Steve Carlton fans or whatever, are saying, well, it sets up to double play. But you're not about to set up to double play with the tie-breaking run and McRae in the batter's box. One ball and 1 strike. Comes a time when they say, well, you pitch around him. Not that time. McRae, a good hitter. Tying run at third, tiebreaker at first. 1 man out. Low curveball, 2 balls and 1 strike. We're in the 7th inning. There you see Willie Wilson. Chalk is at first. McRae, single in the first, single in the third, struck out in the 5th. Off the handle, fouls it off. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Carlton certainly not very sharp tonight, Joe. That was a pitch. He was behind McRae, swung at a pitch out of the strike zone. Steve here in the 7th inning has already thrown about 120 pitches. Paul Moscow just had me a note, 119 pitches so far.
Ball 3, he misses with a breaking ball. Now you got a situation. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Chalk taking a good look at McKenzie at third base. He wants to know, do you want me to run? And here's the 3-2 pitch. Booney really gets in front of it nicely. A classic stop. Chalk a lead. They got him picked off. And now Rose, he can't get anybody. Willie Wilson, speed at third base, intimidated Rose, and now he's got to eat the ball.
The same as Lonnie Smith's speed yesterday caused some problems for George Brett at third. Willie Wilson, who was not off the bag that far, but as soon as Carlton threw to first, Chalk broke. They had him dead if Rose throws the ball quickly. Here it is. Chalk going all the way with McRae up. Look at that. He's worried more, Pete is, about Wilson than he was about Chalk. But now, they did have first base open work. They could do that to McRae, who's a tough RBI man and the cleanup hitter.
So McRae walks to load the bases, and that brings up Amos Otis.
Joe, I've got to believe this, and we might have looked at that as a mistake. But when you know Pete Rose...
No.
Oh, wait a second.
I ain't buying that.
He might have thought. I want to hear his comment after the game, because he might have said, hey, if I throw to second, Wilson might score.
I want to hear his comment
way,
now.
All right, this way, we can walk McRae and get to a little bit weaker RBI man and hitter.
I don't buy it.
Oh, he thinks that far ahead.
Base is loaded. It was a stolen base for Chalk. Amos Otis hit into a force play, hit into a double play, and then single to center field. He has scored the 1 Kansas City run. Hit deep to right field, but it's curving foul. Strike 1.
For the second time in 2 innings, Joe, Carlton looking for the double play. Willie Wilson, the tying run just a little 1 base away, going around the horn. Chalk and McRae at first. And for the first time, we have action in the Philadelphia bullpen. Ron Reed warming up for the Phillies down behind the right field fence.
And I'll tell you, Tony, I'm sure that Boa and Trio are thinking about McRae, who's on at first. Possible double play. He's a hard slider. Fastball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out. There's Ron Reed loosening up for Philadelphia. We are in the 7th. 2-1, Philadelphia. Time. 6 of 7 innings. Kansas City's had at least 2 men on. Nice play by Boone again. That curveball or slider, he's trying to keep it low, but he's really bouncing. He's going 55-footers.
He really looks like he's struggling to me. A good view from the right field camera. Boone has done a fine job behind the plate. No reason there. A fine defensive catch, a Golden Glove catcher.
He's getting that body in front of it to make sure that ball doesn't get past him. He's catching it on top of that. 2 balls and a strike. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bases loaded. We're in the 7th. Philadelphia winning, leading 2-1. Wilson is at third. Chalk at second. McRae is at first. backing out. He's playing a game with Carlton. See that mood changing. Line drive, base hit down the left field line. 1 run in. Here comes Chalk. 2 runs are in. Digging hard, McRae. They're going to hold him up at third. He's going to have to dive back, and he does. Amos Otis, a double down the left field line. Here it is again.
Breaking ball drilled hard. Schmidt with a dive, can't get it. Lonnie Smith with a relay throw to Boa. Offline over Treo's head. If Schmidt had eyes in the back of his head, he might have had McRae, who had rounded the bag too far. He was playing well off the line for the hitter Otis. See how much room he gave him down there, and the ball was hit hard down it.
And Kansas City is taking the lead 3-2 here in the top of the 7th. Strike 1 on Wathan. Hop to the first baseman, fly to right and walked. Amos Otis drilled one past Schmidt, and McRae had ideas of scoring. McKenzie well up the line, stopped him.
Joe, you had to wonder how long Carlton could keep going on and on, putting so many men on base before he got hit. Now it's Dallas Green out to talk with Carlton.
Well, as Tom and Paul Moscow have pointed out, Carlton's made a lot of pitches, but I think the tip-off, Tom, was the curveball, or the slider, the hard slider. He just lost control of it, and he was throwing a 55-footer.
128 pitches so far,
That's a lot.
Joe. And
how many in a normal game?
I would say normally between 120 and 135, right in that range. And here he's still only in the 7th inning. But a lot of low sliders that he was throwing. And the ball that Otis hit was a hanging curveball. He didn't get it down in the strike zone. It's either way down below the strike zone or up in the strike zone. He's been struggling all night long. Big boy pitched 304 innings. Done a fine job for the Phillies. Looks like Dallas Green's going to stay with him, too.
Walks have sure hurt him this inning.
So, Carlton, as Dallas Green walks off, Carlton remains 3-2. Kansas City leading here in the 7th. And they have base runners at 2nd and 3rd. Infield is moved in. Wathan. With the count of strike 1, there's 1 man out.
Got first base open with the left-hander Aikens up next, and then Cardinal.
1 ball, 1 strike. Wathan doing a good job of looking at the third base coach. If nothing else, that puts the thought of the squeeze play into the minds of the defense. That can be a pretty good weapon if you can get the other club thinking. Off the handle, center field, tagging up is McRae. Should be deep enough, tagging up at 2nd base. Here's a throw to the plate, and it is cut off. Rose should get him at 3rd. They got him hung up. Otis is hung up, and he is tagged out.
Otis very wisely stopped and gotten a rundown, so he would not be tagged out before the runner McRae crossed home plate. So the run does count. Here comes the throw. The ball gets stuck in the webbing of the glove of Pete Rose as the run crosses home plate, but Otis, who is going, held up. Very smart base running. That way they could not tag him before the run scored.
So we go in the bottom of the 7th. It's 4-2. Kansas City leading the Phillies.
It takes a lot more than talent to light up Broadway with a show like Dancin'. It takes insurance. Without insurance protection for the theater, actors, and audience, no theater owner could risk booking a show, and there'd be a lot less glitter on the Great White Way. We're Crum & Forster, working with more than 9,000 independent agents and brokers, helping insure the American way of life.
Remember this, a Rhine wine by any other name is not the same. Next time you wonder what white wine to drink, think of Gallo Rhine.
4-2, Kansas City leading the Philadelphia Phillies in the bottom of the 7th. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, it's games people play. Now, I told you last night, you're going to see the Cannonball Championships, but not ordinary Cannonball Championships. These are the World Cannonball Championships. You can wake up the next morning and tell them you saw the World Cannonball Championships. And Soupy Sales will be there, this custard pie throwing. That's something he's no stranger to. He's going to be throwing custard pies. I wonder if there's a difference. Then we got skateboard fever. And that's going to strike. That's got to be the hottest thing on 4 wheels. And there'll be more tomorrow on Games People Play. But me, I can't wait for the World Cannonball Championships.
I got to tell you something. I had a friend. Now I'm going to get into this as quickly as I can. I had a friend in the south side of Milwaukee growing up who had a restaurant. And he had a bunch of fish, and he used to throw raw meat to these piranhas.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a subtle, very smooth way of leading into a promo for a movie. Because immediately following Games People Plays, if you like movies like Jaws, watch Piranha.
Boy, you're slick.
No, that's a true story about the guy on the south side. Oh.
So, there is Quisenberry. You talk about impressive. Just look at that last statistic. Saves, 33. And that's what Kansas City is asking him to do right now. They wanted a tough game against Carlton. They got it from Gura, who was allowed only 4 hits. And now Quisenberry comes in to try to save it with Kansas City leading 4-2. Last night, a ball game, they started young walk, the Phillies did, and it looked like the edge might have been with the Royals, and Phillies won that ball game, and now they come back with their big ace, the #1 man, Carlton, thinking, hey, we would be happy to leave with a split. We may leave with 2, but these Kansas City Royals say, we're going to battle you for it. And they may beat the big man if Quisenberry can nail it down. Let's see what happens. Maddox, it's a strike.
Joe, he'll come right in and throw you some ground balls. We saw Tug McGraw come in and get 6 quick outs last night. Now Quisenberry's got 9 outs to get. Saved the first game for his Kansas City Royals.
Low inside, and it's 1-1. So you look at this series, it's going to be a dandy. It started out that way. There's a sinker strike. Ruthven against Rick Gale on Friday night should be a pretty good matchup. Kansas City bench looking on.
And the Royals and Royal fans hope that that off day will allow Brett to recover enough to play in that 3rd game. He was very questionable for a day, tried it, but then had to leave.
Foul tip. Ball, 2 strikes.
He's got a nasty sinker, Tony. I mean, he does. You look at him, you can tell Kent Tekulve has worked with him. The ball just looks like it's going over a mountain, up and over a mountain.
Kent Tekulve, this spring got him to bend over from the waist up this spring and also drop down a little bit lower where he got more action and movement on that sinker.
Get his arm under and he got his body lower to the ground as well, right.
Maddox with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's a ground ball. Chalk has it. Long throw. In time. Nice play. He'll get a lot of ground balls. And I'll tell you, those right-hand hitters, that front foot's got to be talking to you when he comes from this side.
This is a similar type ball that was the first base hit off Gura that George Brett could not get after. He's had some shortstop experience, Chuck, so he has excellent range, and he just showed it on this play. He kind of loops the ball from down under. You can't throw over the top when you're running away from 3rd base that way, so you got to sidearm it or throw from down under, more of a sinker ball type throw.
So there's 1 away, and here is Manny Trio, who drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. He fly to center field, his other time up. Another ground ball. This one is to Washington. There's a quick throw in plenty of time. Tony, there's a guy sitting in the visitors clubhouse named Ace Kessler, who's been around his baseball some 60 years. He has seen 22 fathers and sons come to a big league clubhouse. We look at Pete Rose.
I mean, he was here before Rose was in the big leagues?
And Rose and young Petey may come through, and old Ace will be here. He is so excited with his first World Series. Waited a long time as Rose looks on, the catalyst. But there are 2 outs. Quisenberry with that sidearm sinker. Boa was in the record books tonight by being the third player. Rizzuto and Maury Wills, the other two in World Series history, to start 3 double plays. Steve Carlton looking on. He is trailing by 2.
I bet he misses hitting on the DHs because he's a good hitter.
Bouncing ball, Frank White. Easy inning, 3 ground balls. So Quisenberry came in and did what Fry wanted him to do, throw ground balls, 1, 2, 3. At the end of 7, it's Kansas City 4, Philadelphia 2, and 2 up. It'll be Willie Mays Aikens, Jose Cardinal, and Frank White.
Picking and choosing the right investments requires very careful handling. One wrong move can easily damage the best laid plans. At Merrill Lynch, we know that size and strength can be very valuable. But it is our sensitivity to your investment goals and agility in helping you reach them that makes us what we are. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
It's Sears National Hardware Week sale. Save $35 on Sears Best Craftsman Circular Saw, now $44.99. And save $35 on this 1-horsepower router, also $44.99. And save $10 on this variable speed saber saw, 3/8-inch variable speed drill, or dual action pad sander, each only $19.99. Now at Sears National Hardware Week sale.
Roll on in, America, to Sears' first Automotive Savings Rally. Save 10 to 40% and get some of our lowest prices of the year on tires, shocks, batteries, and much, much more. There's heavy-duty jumper cable, $7.88, save $5. A battery charger, $29.88, save $10. A floor jack, $44.88, save $25. At the Sears Automotive Savings Rally. Don't miss it. Sears, where America shops for value.
65,775 here. 16 people less than last night. Why didn't those 16 people show up? They're missing a tremendous ball game. Larry Gura and now Quisenberry. Gura gave up just 4 hits, but he was really battling, but these Royals came back to take the lead. And here's Willie Mays Aikens against Carlton. Strike on the outside corner. He walked, single, safe on an error. He had himself a cut. 2 strikes.
Aikens takes as big a cut as anybody in the National League. The first time I've seen him in the last 2 days, other than on television, when you saw him in the playoffs, and he lets that lumber go, doesn't he, Tony?
Mm-hmm. He's a pretty heavy bat. He's up around 37 ounces. I wonder if he kept that same bat against Carlton with that good breaking stuff.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Low curveball all the way back. Gooney, with no one on, just kind of flagged it, which was smart. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Willie Mays Aikens, born during the World Series, the year of the catch, they call it. Now they're going to check the line again and visit a while. There is Pee Wee Reese. When, oh, when is he going to go to the Hall of Fame?
How about Louis Aparicio, who didn't make it?
It's okay.
And Rizzuto.
It's okay.
And you just mentioned that. What do you mean it's okay?
I approve.
That they should be voted in?
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's the first time we agreed all year.
They're going to measure it. Look at this. This game may be decided by... Hey, Ron, have you ever done that?
I've never had a tape measure.
How far back is he going by tape, do you know?
Yeah, exactly 36 inches.
They usually use a bat for that.
Well, it depends on what size bat. Yeah, you ask him what size bat it is and go back. Remember, any part of that foot touches the line, got him anyway. Any part of foot touches the line, he's considered in the box. So he can be 90% out and just part of that size 12 foot hitting the box, he's considered in.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you, where did he come up with the slide rule?
You know, none of us can see that.
I mean, but
that small.
you guys don't carry that, do you?
He put it in for him. I'm sure Dick Butler from the American League said, hey, you better get something out there because they're really on Willie.
That is a first right there.
Carlton, that is.
That is a first.
This game could be decided by a carpenter. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. Cardinal fouls it off, and that got Kunkel.
Ouch.
That really nailed him. He's got that big balloon protector, but that goes off the mask. Oh, Jocko Conlon used to wear that thing. I think if I was an umpire, I'd wear it. But look at that, right off the mat. Boy, that'll just, if you got cavities or fillings, they're coming out. Boom. Look at that mask move. Out of play. That hurts, too. Don't think it doesn't. Ron, a real quick answer. I know what it feels like. What does it feel like to that head of yours?
It just rings. I'll tell you, you can't see anything, and you go by instinct after that. The ringing in the ear is what it hurts.
But the trainer, I heard tell an umpire when he said that, don't answer the phone. Just let it ring. 1 and 2. 2 and 2. That got me kicked out of a game. That flip remark like that. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Kansas City leading 4-2. We're in the 8th. Ruthven against Gale. Friday night in Kansas City. High. And these Philadelphia Phillies fans have had a chance to root their ball club. Royal fans will have a chance on Friday night. It'll be exciting. Back in Missouri, the old home state. Well hit, right field. Going back, McBride, all the way back. Warning track, makes the catch. Beautiful play by Mick McBride.
I'll tell you, Jose Cardinal can still not believe it, and that smile from Mick McBride was showing the ball to Jose Cardinal, who was between second and first. Said, yes, I do have it. He got a good jump. He was playing him down toward the line. Look at him limping on that leg.
Some catch, I'll tell you. He made a good one last night, along with Maddox's play. So there are 2 away. We're in the 8th inning. Nobody's on. 4-2, Kansas City leading.
Schmidt is very good on that play. He was playing just behind the bag, but one of the first things he looks for, as most third basemen, that right hand on a right-hand hitter. When it starts sliding up, they make some unusual movement with that right hand, separating those hands. He began charging on White.
One ball, 1 strike to count.
With 2 outs, Tony, I think that bunt play, with 2 outs, I think the bunt play, trying to drag for a bunt is, I don't think that's a good play at all. You've got to try and hit a double, hit the extra base hit, unless you can get the bunt play and feel like you can steal second base.
I would disagree with you for only this reason. The Kansas City Royals, to them with their running game, a single turns out to be a double in many instances with their speed.
It's out of play. The count, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Steve Carlton, top of the 8th. Kansas City 4, Philadelphia 2. Low, 3-2 the count, 2 outs.
The Royals had 9 players this year in double figures with stolen bases.
Count remains at 3-2.
This crowd has become quiet again, like it did yesterday when the Phillies were down 4-0.
There's the Kansas City bench. Jim Fry. Dallas Green. I'm going to call him Darryl. Dallas. In the hole, base hit. Frank White is on. So with 2 outs, White singles to left. And that brings up Willie Wilson. I'll tell you, he struck out his first 3 times, but when he got a base on balls, sacrificed the second, he stole third, and then on a pickoff play, he intimidated Pete Rose to the point that Chalk went to second. They walked McRae, and then it all started. Otis, a big base hit, a double, and a sacrifice fly. And Kansas City took the lead.
White stole 19 during the season. He did not have a big lead at all on that first pickoff throw. Still doesn't.
Low ball 1.
That kind of decoying of a bunt does serve a purpose because it'll draw that third baseman in 3 or 4 steps. And many times they'll go back just 2 or 3. So they've given ground on the turf where that ground ball gets by them. They don't have as good a lateral movement.
Inside.
I think he's really tired, Tony. The curveball that White got the base hit on, as you see Ron Reed in the bullpen, was not a sharp breaking pitch at all. That fastball seems to be a little bit flat. He's thrown almost 150 pitches, 149 pitches.
There's the strike. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. Willie Wilson. Gene Mauch, I think, when he's managing Minnesota, described him best. Most disruptive, productive, concentration breaker in baseball.
I'll ask you this, Tom. You talked about all the pitches, and if we have time, I'll get to this point. With all the pitches he's thrown, Carlton is going to come back in this series to pitch a ball game if it continues to go on.
Going to come back in 4 days, too.
You bet. And that might have an effect on him later, throwing that many pitches.
Fouled out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Certain pitchers seem to have a limit to how many pitches they can go or throw. And when they go over that, it seems to affect them the next time.
What was your limit?
Exactly. My limit's about 125, 130 pitches. And if I get over that, it'll affect you the next time. He's a big, strong man, but he's not a pitcher like a Nolan Ryan who can throw 160, 170 pitches and seemingly not have it affect him the next time.
Right to Rose, off his glove. Willie Wilson is on at first base. He's got himself a base hit. So White moves to second. Wilson's on at first, and UL Washington is the batter. This after 2 were out.
I don't know how Pete even got his glove on the ball, holding White, and then he scoots off the bag. Watch this. He is so aggressive. He somehow just managed to get a piece of the glove on it. He did not get an out on it, but that ball is in the corner, and I'm going to tell you, they're going to score from first base on that, and Willie Wilson's going to be on third. Look at that. That ball is going way in the right field corner, and Frank White would have scored. I really believe with his speed.
Curveball hangs outside, and it's ball 1. Washington is 1 for 3. He sacrificed his last time up. He moved Wilson into the scoring position. Curveball. That was a lollipop, Tom.
You're looking at a tired pitcher right now, and a tired pitcher makes mistakes, Joe. No question about it.
Why wouldn't he tell the manager? Tom?
Why wouldn't a catcher tell the manager?
If he asked me, I would.
Exactly.
2 balls and 1 strike. UL Washington. White is at second. Wilson is at first. 2 outs. He had good stuff on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kansas City 4, Philadelphia 2. We're in the 8th. Foul out of play. He did not have a good swing at that one.
Thrown 158 pitches, Joe, and the last 3 pitches are probably 3 of the best that he's thrown in the last couple of innings. Sometimes that'll happen to a pitcher. Get that front leg up just a little bit more, take a little bit more time to deliver the ball. Get a second win, so they say.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs.
UL Washington stepped out because Larry Boa tried to sneak behind Frank White at second base, and UL tried to step out to call time in case there was a pickoff on.
Struck him out. UL Washington is out on strikes. That ends the inning. So the scores, we go into the bottom of the 8th. Kansas City 4, Philadelphia 2. You know, Willie Mays Aikens led off this inning, and I thought about Willie Mays. There was a great catch in right field by Beck McBride, and I thought about Willie Mays. 1954, the year of the catch. Let's join Mel Allen for a flashback.
Don Little on the mound for the Giants. The score tied 2-all, 2 men on. Vic Wertz at bat for Cleveland. There's a drive going to deep center field. After it is Willie Mays. He makes a spectacular one-handed grab inches from the wall. One of the greatest in series history as the Giants go on to sweep the series 4-0.
If you need good gas mileage, but you can't make it with a small import pickup, you're caught in a kind of tug-of-war. And Ford's the answer. Now, you'd expect good mileage from a small truck, but with 6-cylinder pickups, here's Ford's mileage breakthrough. And there's Ford's full-size cabin box and 6-cylinder power. And payload, it can actually carry the Toyota.
One, two, three, 4, 5. Trouble spots like these are what separate Gillette Atra from all ordinary razors. The reason? The Atra pivot. It keeps the blades at a perfect shaving angle, giving you a better shave than any razor that can't pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many more reasons do you need? Gillette Atra, the pivot makes it better.
Gillette, when it comes to shaving, we give you the edge.
Baseball for the entire family. Baseball, a great entertainment buy. Take your family out to the ballpark in 1981 and catch baseball fever.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball. Is the new first baseman. Low inside, ball 1. Bob Boone. Bob Boone, 1 ball, 1 strike. Line to center field, walk. Crowd reacting. Off the handles. He is tough on right-handed hitters. Quisenberry.
Sinker ball that Tom Seaver told you about. He throws a slider from down under, but it's not the kind of slider that you can get on top of, obviously. It is mostly a flat slider. He does not try to throw it against left-handed hitters, more to right. He uses that fork ball more often against left-handed hitters. You've got to hit your way on with him, Tom. He doesn't walk too many.
His out pitch, definitely that underhand fastball, though. That good sinker is there, too.
Misses, low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Kansas City leading by the score of 4-2. Nobody on, nobody out. Bob Boone, 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Quisenberry in relief. Another bouncing ball. I tell you, when he pitches, those grub warrens just can't sleep around home plate. He just beats everything down.
You know, he got 3 ground balls in the 7th inning, and not one of those on their first bounce got out as far as the artificial surface. They all hit in the dirt. A little circle right in front of home plate. His ball is really sinking.
Crowd reacting. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Off the handle. Quisenberry trying to nail it down for Kansas City and Larry Gura. Big ball game. They would then go to Kansas City tied 1 game apiece. And it'll be Ruthven for the Phillies against Rich Gale. You'll hear quotes like, "We were happy to leave with a split." Misses. 3-2. Tying run is on. And Merle Harmon has got a report on George Brett. Let's go to Merle.
All right, Joe, the report is that George had suffered a great deal of discomfort as a result of the hemorrhoids. The trainers were working on him. Jim Fry took him out of the game. He did not take himself out. At this stage, we don't know if George will be playing Friday night or not. Possibly more news on that at the end of the ball game. Joe?
Okay, Merle, the roar for Dale Unser, who was the big hero in that championship series. His father, a former major leaguer, is here watching the game. And I'm sure all of Decatur, Illinois is watching it.
And this is the test for Quisenberry right now because he'll face Unser, Rose, and McBride, 3 left-handed hitters. This Rose, a switch hitter. And left-handers give him a little bit more trouble.
Strike. Unser on the air hit 264.
Quisenberry came in last night through 1 pitch. Was all he worked. Tonight he's thrown 14 pitches. Every one of them, Tony, been a fastball. And he would love the ground ball right here.
One ball, 1 strike. Including the championship series, Unser hitting at 317. He was 1 for 3 in the playoffs as a pinch hitter. Left center field, another base hit. Bob Boone digging hard all the way to the wall. They're going to send him in. It'll be 4-3. Listen to the crowd.
Here's the left-hander, Unser pinch hitting. He went beautifully the opposite way, Tom. Did not try and pull that sinker, even though Quisenberry got a little more up than some of his pitches. Otis relay, as the runner Boone is scoring all the way from first. UL Washington decides not to go anywhere. Holds the ball, but it's an RBI double. Jimmy Fry out now.
Kansas City leading. Fry just wanted to set up some strategy and that scoreboard delivers, and that he did. He delivered in the playoff series. Big base hit, tying run at second base.
Now Pete Rose wants to pull the ball to the right side, get Unser into third. Pete might even try and drag a bunt. There's Fry retreating to the dugout, but Pete's got to get him over.
First and third, they're in tight. Nobody out. 4-3, Kansas City leading, bottom of the 8th. Rose has flied to center twice and flied to right. Chopper, Lecoq makes the play at first base, and just as Tony said, Unser moves to third on the bouncing ball.
The old pro shows how to move a man. He just tried to get that head of the bat out in front. Lecoq was playing very shallow in case Pete tried to bunt, Quisenberry over as is White, but Rose does the job.
Interesting there, Tony. You look at him as he crossed the bag. He's looking back over his shoulder to see if the runner's at third base. That's really the only thing Pete cared about there.
For a minute, it looked like that ball was going to bounce over Lecoq's head.
Trying to do his job, almost got a base hit out of it.
So there's one out. Unser, the tying run, is at third, and Beck McBride is the batter. He's 0 for 2.
One of the interesting stats about Quisenberry this year for the Royals, he entered 38 games when the Royals were ahead, and he kept it that way in every one but 2 games. See if he can do it here.
High chopper, base hit.
See right here what artificial surface has done to this game of baseball. The infield end, one bounce, almost to what would have been the outfield grass had we been playing on dirt and grass. But it did the job, didn't it?
So we're all tied up. Well, it's like Richie Allen said. I said it before the game. He doesn't like to play on grass a horse can't eat. And for the Philly fans, they love it. It's all tied up. Here is Mike Schmidt. Being called by Paul Pryor. These Philadelphia Phillies, what a battle ahead with Houston in the championship series. I mean, it was soap opera time. Everything happened. And what a start we got for this World Series as these Phillies battle back. Not in time. These Royals, they battle. It's going to be a great week coming up. One out. Right field, deep. Cardinal going back. That's going to be off the wall. It is. Beck McBride digging hard. They're going to try to score him. Here's the throw. Not in time.
Takes the ball off the wall. Frank White makes a good throw, but he might have made the wrong throw. He had to go home. He had to go home, but by doing so, Schmidt did get to third base. Frank White with a strong arm, not quite as strong as Manny Trios. Wathan trying to block the plate on McBride, but he slides hard. I'll tell you, the Royals have got to be in shock.
If he can make that throw all the way in the air, Tony, he's got a good chance of getting Big McBride, and there was one happy fella as he slid across home plate. The emotion that Bake McBride showed right there, and he won't show you that emotion that much. He keeps it all inside of him. Jimmy Fry, of course, not very happy.
If you're scoring, it's a double for Schmidt. He takes third on the throw. And the Kansas City Royals now find themselves trailing by a run. It's 5-4 Philadelphia.
John got to believe the Royals got to be completely deflated. 2 nights in a row. They had a 4-0 lead yesterday. There's Fry. Today, they put Carlton on the ropes. Inning after inning after inning. Finally scored and got the lead off him, only to see it wiped out. And Dallas Green is a happy man inside, at least.
That brings up Moreland. Infield is moving in. 1 man out. 5-4. Phillies lead. Ball. Tell you, this championship series in this. Tomorrow night we get to watch games people playing the Cannonball Championships. And then we'll watch Piranha just for a little breather here. Because these 2 teams have put on quite an exhibition.
Well, we're going to watch Kansas City on an off day after the 2 teams work out, prepare for Friday's game in KC.
Base hit. 6-4.
Quisenberry has come in from the bullpen, thrown all fastballs. A good shot of Moreland lining a fastball right up the middle and getting an RBI. And there's another young, happy fella. Another important thing, Tony, that's happened in this inning. Mike Schmidt has been heard from. That may take a lot of pressure off of his shoulders. He's hit an extra base hit, driven in a big run. It may take a lot of pressure off his bat.
And Greg Gross is coming in as a pinch hitter for Maddox. It's 6-4, Philadelphia. It's a strike. Quisenberry, the ace reliever for Kansas City. There you see Gross.
This is an unusual move, I think, because you're removing your best defensive outfielder when you've got a 2-run lead. That's Maddox. And I know you've got a lefty versus a righty here offensively. But I don't know if that's the important thing right now. Had your lead. Perhaps he left because he was hurt, pounding that ball off his instep. Maddox.
Could be. Got to get a report. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Moreland at first. Gross, the batter. Inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
I'll tell you, the added pressure that is put on this Kansas City team if they can't come back, and you see the 2 managers, the fact that you mentioned Carlton, they almost had him beat. There is Ken Brett, the brother of George. He's been in a World Series play before with the Red Sox. But the fact that the Phillies are doing it against their best reliever.
High chopper pull foul. Ruben Amaro at first base gets a few All-Star game votes by flipping the ball in the stands. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Phillies come roaring back here against the ace reliever. Quisenberry. Jim Fry going a long way with it. Bouncing ball. Washington 1, White 2, double play. That ends the inning, but a good inning for the Phillies. And listen to these fans. It's 6-4 at the end of 8. So, in the 9th inning for the Kansas City Royals, they trail by 2, 6-4. Fans are still alive. 2 up will be Dave Chalk, Al McRae, and Amos Otis.
Right in your neighborhood, maybe right on your street, is a very unusual family. And if you know what's good for you, you go in and meet them. It's the Century family of companies. There's a company that insures many drivers other people won't. A company that does nothing but life insurance. A company that helps you take care of your health. That's our family. A family that includes thousands of independent agents and sales representatives. The Century family of companies for all your insurance needs.
You know, it's amazing how similar we are. We have the same last name.
And we both played baseball for the same team.
We even drank the same beer, light beer from Miller.
And we drink it for the same reason. Light has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer.
And it's less filling.
But we drink it because it tastes so great.
Now, I know we're incredibly alike, but don't be confused. We are not identical twins.
I'm at least 2 inches taller than he is.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, Coach is back!
What's going on?
Lunch.
Burgers, huh?
Nah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Coach says the Colonel only uses fresh quality chicken. Coach wants us to eat right. He says Kentucky Fried Chicken's a great meal at a sensible price.
Smart Coach.
Smart enough to know what my boys like best.
Right on, Hank!
It's so nice, so good about a meal, so good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Sunday, start your day with NFL 80, followed by heavy-hitting AFC action, featuring the Battlin' Bills versus the Never Say Die Dolphins. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Top of the 9th inning, Philadelphia leading 6-4, and Greg Gross goes into play left field. Del Unser, who got a big double, is in center field. And the new pitcher is Ron Reed. So Steve Carlton leaves after 8 innings. Carlton struck out 10, and the last pitcher to strike out 10 or more in a World Series game was Tom Seaver with 12, 1973. There There you are, Tom. Did you know that?
All right. You caught me by surprise. I didn't have the slightest idea.
Rag arm you got, I don't know how you could accomplish that.
So we got a pinch hitter coming out. Porter, Darrell Porter will be the pinch hitter for Chalk.
Dallas Green going with Reed. Of course, he wants to rest McGraw with a 2-run lead after yesterday in the championship series, but he had a string until his pinch hitter of 4 consecutive right-handed hitters, Chalk, McRae, Otis, and Wathan. It is not the strongest bench as far as popping the ball out of the ballpark for the Royals.
Fastball is high. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, there'll be all kinds of things about it. If you lose the first 2, how many teams have done this and done that? I can go back to the last time we did a World Series. What happened? There's a strike. The Yankees and the Dodgers, and the Yankees lost the first 2, came back and won the series. Tom Lasorda, who's sitting right down there, will remember it.
Porter 0 for 2 in the ball game yesterday, but he did walk twice.
Misses.
Bullpen for the Phillies. Dickie Doles, the right-hander. Kevin Saucier, the left-hander. There goes Marlin.
Normally a catcher, he's been DH, and he's going down to help out. The fire starts, he wants to get the blankets. Off the handle, out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Big ball game, not only in the terms of who wins or loses. A lot of questions for Kansas City. Foul back. Will Brett be able to play? How about the treatment Quisenberry got? Is Mike Schmidt finally coming alive? Big ball game. It'll be Friday night.
I don't know what he was looking for, but Ron Reed snuck a fastball right by him on the outside part of the plate. Maybe looking for a changeup. All fastballs that Ron Reed had thrown to Darrell Porter here, threw a fastball simply right by him. Darrell had to be fooled somewhere.
Reed is not as consistent as he was a couple of years ago, but he still has streaks of throwing very hard. He just did it to Porter. There's Fry. He's throwing it by him.
Strike 1. He is pumped up.
Boone likes him to come in and just go hard at the hitter. Ron's got a good fastball. Likes him to come in and go right after him. Be very aggressive.
1 ball, 1 strike. Seems to be the story as we look at Dallas Green and the Phillies bench with a relief pitcher. You just want him to come in and play good old country hardball. Don't think, just throw. Good fastball, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
If you look at this ball game, the Royals, through 8, stranded 10 base runners. Carlton struck out a bunch and also some double plays. Philadelphia stranded, as far as my unofficial count, just 4 in this game. They made the most of their hits.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 man out, nobody on. 6-4. Philadelphia leading. 9th inning. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Maddox, the official word, taken out because he bruised his left knee on the foul tip. Chopper up the middle into center field. So the tying run is at the plate. McRae with his 3rd base hit of the night. Struck out in the 5th, walked and scored in the 7th. So he is 3 for 4, a big night. And that brings up Amos Otis, who's had a big night. Otis, that big double in the 7th inning.
Schmidt's now going to have a conference with Ron Reed. You know, McRae just showed you a pretty good piece of hitting because all he was trying to do, he puts the ball in play, which is so important on artificial surface. He was just protecting the plate. He had a bad pitch, and yet he got the single on the turf.
Otis, who is 5 for 9 in this World Series with 1 home run and 4 RBIs against Ron Reed. 1 man out. 9th inning.
Otis hit a high breaking ball in the game 1 here for a home run. I'm sure Booney's going to give him a good diet of, say, cut fastballs and sinking fastballs into him. I don't imagine he'll get much soft stuff.
Tip-off on the concentration by Reed. Otis had backed out in plenty of time, but he was thinking so much of what he was going to do and where. He just almost threw it. McRae's at first base. 1 out. Tying run at the plate. 6-4 is the score. We're in 9th. Foul ball.
They're not getting around. They're having very weak swings off Reed. Maybe partly his motion with that big leg kick and all the elbows, kneecaps, but he's also thrown very hard, I think.
Ray, Pete Rose, former teammates. Pete, a goodwill ambassador, visits with everybody. Outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Amos Otis. A classic example. As Booney gave the sign, he motioned inside, he gave the target outside and then moved back in, but how Otis could take that pitch, I don't know. Great eye, I guess. Just lucky. 2-2. Foul ball out of play. He's battling.
I think one of the big advantages that Ron Reed is showing that a relief pitcher has when he comes in, Tom, is they faced Carlton through most of this ball game the first 3 times around or so. He's giving him a lot of breaking balls from the left side, obviously. Then a relief pitcher comes in with a different motion, different delivery, different speeds, different movement on the ball, and they see him just that one time. That has really cut down batting average, I think, the relief specialist.
Foul ball out of play. Otis continues to battle Ron Reed. I'll tell you, as far as they're concerned, they're the only 2 guys in this ballpark, and we got some 65,775 here tonight. That would have been a big double play for a lot of reasons.
Tell you who Trio heard coming. The man we talked about earlier who learned this game from Pete Rose. Hal McRae. Routine flip. Trio's going to get out of the way.
McRae comes very hard. Been 6 double plays in this game. That ties a record. 4 by the Phillies ties a record. That double play, if they'd have been able to make it, would have broken a couple records, but Trio said, I'm going to get out of here before I get broken. It's a strike on John Watson. Reed is going to try to nail it down in this crowd on its feet. 6-4, 2 outs in the 9th. Tying runs at the plate. 2 strikes. And they're not just standing in the reserve seats. We look at the Phillies bench. They're in the upper decks all over. Look at that Phillies bench. Phillies, what a stretch drive. Come from behind to win all 4 of their postseason games. Came from behind in this one. 1 pitch away. Out of play. I tell you, watching this game, you get the feeling what it's like to be a yo-yo. As we look at Dallas Green, you're up and you're down. Reed. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 9th inning. Phillies 6, the Royals 4. The winner was Carlton. The losers, Quisenberry. Schmidt gets a game-winning RBI. And Merle Harmon is with Jim Fry. Let's get a report from Merle Harmon on the Royals, especially George Brett. Merle?
All right, Joe, Jim Fry here, and George Brett left a lineup. When a player of Brett's magnitude leaves a lineup, you're going to get hurt. What about George? Will he be back?
Well, we hope he can be back. I tried to get him out of there before it became too severe. It was starting to bother him, and I told him before the game that if it was bothering him to let me know. He came out of there. We scored, and we had the lead after he left the ball game.
All right, now, what's the routine for him tomorrow? Will he undergo treatment in Kansas City? Can he come back Friday night?
Well, we're hoping so. It's one of those things we have to wait and see day by day. We're hoping that the treatment for the next couple of days will help him.
All right, Jim, now your backs are to the wall, so to speak. You're going home. What's the home field advantage in Kansas City for you?
Well, I think it's going to be an advantage for our ball players to have the crowd. You could see the crowd reaction here tonight. I think it helps. If you remember last year, the team that won the first 2 didn't win the series, so I'm hoping the same thing happens this year.
All right, Jim, good luck to you. We'll see you in Kansas City. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, Merle, our thanks, too, to Jim Fry after a tough loss to stop to tell us. We'll be back with more from Veterans Stadium, but there's the final score, 6-4. We'll be back. You join us.
Using this surgical fiber optic lens, Prestone Labs is going to show you what weak, neglected antifreeze can do to your radiator after only 9,000 miles. Look at these passages. Rust, corrosion, continued neglect could clog them and overheat this radiator. But look at a Prestone protected radiator after the same 9,000 miles. Quite a difference. Prestone has a patented silicone silicate formula to lock out rust and corrosion. Prestone 2 and Prestone Super Flush. No wonder we're #1.
Instant photography by Kodak and the big audition.
The cornucopia. It is a horn of plenty.
Hold it. Got the flash, Marvin?
Sure. It's still trident.
Very good. Okay, next.
Fine crops of grain and fruit.
You're on, Louise.
Hi, Alexa.
Well, Marvin, what do you think?
I think all my pictures are great.
The Kodak Colorburst 250, the instant camera with built-in flash and brilliant color by Kodak.
Introducing the Pepsi-Cola World Series scorecard, an exciting new game with thousands of prizes.
He's out!
Here's how you play. Rub off these baseballs on your Pepsi game card, and if your score matches the game score, you'll be eligible to win this Ford Mustang, this Mattel electronic baseball game, cash, and lots more. Pick up game cards at participating stores. Play the Pepsi-Cola World Series scorecard game.
And be a winner.
This is for you. An invitation to pivot. This is the Gillette Atra Invitation Razor. Its twin blades keep the perfect shaving angle because of this, the Atra Pivot. It gives you a better shave than any razor that can't pivot. And now you can pick up this Gillette Atra razor for under $1.50. But hurry, this offer to pivot is for a limited time only, so run out before we do.
Mike Schmidt had a big base hit. Merle Harmon's with him, and we want to hear how he feels, Merle.
All right, Joe, I know that Mike feels pretty good at this stage. Booming triple off of Dan Quisenberry. Now, you faced DeCulvey all year,
right.
so Quisenberry probably wasn't too much of a mystery, was he?
Well, not really. Of course, I had watched him in the playoff games, and I'd watched him pitch to every right-hander he threw to, and I hit a good pitch. You know, it didn't very often I hit the pitch down and in like that to right field, and I didn't want to let him get ahead of me. I had been taking the first pitch quite often last night and tonight, and I just thought I was going to go ahead and get a hack at that first one if it looked good to me. And I was lucky enough to get it over Jose's head in right field. The ball hit the bottom of the wall, bounced straight up. It didn't kick right back to him.
Okay, you've had to come from behind twice now in these two ball games. What has this meant to the team?
Well, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to have when you're down in a ball game, to feel like 5 games in a row you've overcome the lead. It's a real feeling of confidence. But I tell you what, I don't enjoy being down. It's sooner or later we're going to have to get some runs and get ahead of them and let them come back. They're a great ball club. You saw in the last inning how every one of their hitters battled right down to the wire, and there's still a lot of baseball to be played.
You guys weren't really tired coming into this series, were you?
Oh, no, you ain't no way you can be tired playing in the World Series, Merle. No way.
And now it's on to Kansas City. Congratulations.
Well, that's right. Thank you very much. One thing's for sure, though, we get to play back in Philadelphia, right?
Okay, Mike.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right, Mike Schmidt. Now let's go to Brian Gumbel.
Okay, Merle, thank you much. Besides going up 2-0, one has to be impressed by the Phillies' resiliency and by their ability not to waste much. They stranded only 3 base runners tonight and only 6 last night. By contrast, the Kansas City Royals are down 2 games, and there are some ominous signs. Their best right-hander, Dennis Leonard, failed to win. Their best left-hander, Larry Gura, failed to win. Their best reliever, Dan Quisenberry, was bounced around tonight. Their best hitter, George Brett, has a hemorrhoid problem that figures to keep him hampered throughout the series. And their best run producer, Willie Wilson, is only 1 for 9 with 5 strikeouts. Indeed, as they head back to Kansas City, things have to improve for the Royals.
Odds are you sell your house faster if you tell more people about it. That's what this machine does. Like any agent, I find buyers locally, but I can also send a picture and description of your house to buyers in any one of our 4,000 offices. It's like a national multi-list, and only ERA has this system. Think about the odds and then call us. We can find more buyers. That's another reason your ERA real estate specialist is the person you need to know in real estate.
I needed the mileage of a Toyota Cressida, but it didn't have enough room. What I needed was the room of a Volvo, but it didn't get good enough mileage. What I needed was a citation. What I didn't need was the price. What I needed was a miracle. What I found was a Fairmont.
Ford Fairmont. It makes a world of sense.
A world of better ideas coming from Ford.
Where in the world are we? Now, what's this place?
Welcome to the last place on earth.
Look at all this.
Dear?
Like my boutique. Cute.
Yeah, we just have traveler's checks.
Citicorp?
Yes.
Love them.
Imagine Citicorp traveler's checks are even accepted in the last place on earth.
Our lucky day.
Travel the world with us, Citicorp traveler's checks.
Here's to good friends. Tonight
Hey,
is
Phil,
special.
I thought you were taking us to dinner.
I
am.
Okay, where is it?
You're standing on it.
What?
Hey, a clam bake.
I suppose you got Lowenbrow, too.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Phil, that was fantastic.
Hey, I only take my friends to the best places.
Well, for the 5th time in postseason play, the Philadelphia Phillies came from behind, and tonight they defeat the Kansas City Royals by the score of 6-4. The winning pitcher, Carlton, the losing pitcher, Quisenberry, Mike Schmidt had a big game-winning RBI, the save to Ron Reed. So, Phillies win the 2 games played here in Philadelphia. Now it's on to Kansas City. The momentum certainly is with the Philadelphia Phillies, but as you heard Jim Fry say, we're going home, our hometown fans, and that'll be on Friday night with Ruthven against Gale. So, final score, once again, Philadelphia 6, Kansas City 4. For Tony Kubek and Tom Siebert, Joe Garagiola saying so long here from Philadelphia. Game 2 of the 1980 World Series has been brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to test drive the new 1981 Ford cars and trucks. And by Lowenbrow, when you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow. And by Kodak, America's storyteller. And by Gillette Etra, the pivoting head razor. The pivot makes it better. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Oldmeyer. The coordinating producer of baseball is Michael Weissman. The telecast of tonight's game has been produced by George Finkel. Directed by Harry Coyle. Pre-game produced by David Stern. Pre-game and replays directed by Ken Fouts. Technical director Horace Ruiz. Associate producers Michael Hadley, Peter Rolfe, Glenn Adamo, Bill Peters. Associate directors Richard Klein, John Filippelli. Production manager Steve Foreman. Now remember, tomorrow night it's games People Play and Piranha. And then Friday, Game 3, Ruthven against Gale. World Series on NBC, Game 3. Stay tuned for late news, followed by The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson on the West Coast most Mountain Time Zone stations. These programs will be seen at their regular time.